Well, it was only last month that Charlton won 4-0 away to Wycombe, a result that mirrored each club's late season form. So from that perspective, the Chairboys will have been relatively happy with the clean sheet that sees us start this second leg all square. But the Haddocks' home form has been hugely impressive. They're unbeaten here in 15, and they start the night as warm favourites. Welcome to the Valley, and a very good evening to you. I'm Jim Proudfoot alongside Scott Minto, who's back on his old stomping ground as Charlton look to get ever closer to ending their longest run outside the top two divisions since the 1920s. They were 14th in late November, but they had the second best form from then on in. Scott, welcome back. I know this place has got a very special place in your heart. What was the key to your old club being able to turn their season around in the way they did?
Yeah, good evening, Jim. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, this does have special memories for me. I played in the Back to the Valley game, which, when you think about having their home back, is one of the biggest games in this club's history. So I'm proud to have been a part of that, coming through the ranks as well. But in terms of this particular season, I've got to throw you back to last season, really. Nathan Jones came in, made it them a very tough side to beat. Jim, they were in danger of going down to the fourth tier of English football, something they never did before. He made sure they were difficult to beat. They picked up points, they got away from the relegation zone, but they still finished the worst league finish in 98 years. So having someone like Nathan Jones, recruitment, there were players brought in, but when you think about going back to where we were before Christmas, even Nathan was under pressure, because results weren't going for them. You just mentioned about in the bottom half again. And the run they've been on since, I think, was just sensational. I think I've spoken to a lot of people, and what was it? And there's not one thing in particular, but there's no doubt about it, it clicked just before Christmas. And there's nothing like a bit of momentum when suddenly, you can get this to be a fortress at home, which every club in any division is looking forward to doing. As you say, unbeaten in 15, 12 of the last 14 games they've won as well. And once you're on that roll with good players, and they do have good players, certainly in this division, then we're here where we are. And I and most Charlton fans would have snapped your hand off both at the start of the season and before Christmas to say that they are where they are right now.
Well, this is how the two teams line up tonight. Charlton making a couple of changes. Thierry Small in for Tanai Watson, and Alex Gilbert replaces Luke Berry, who's got a minor injury. Aniki and Kanu return to the bench. Wycombe are without keeper Will Norris, who's ill. Franco Ravitsoli, displaced as first choice keeper, is recalled for his first game since February the 1st, whilst Gareth McCleary is also recalled, and he starts on his 38th birthday as Fred Onyedinma drops to the bench. This is the Charlton side then, Scott. Mannion in goal, Ramsey, Jones, Gillespie and Edwards, Coventry and Doherty, Small, Gilbert and Campbell, and Matt Godden up front.
Yeah, do you know what? It's a really good side, very solid side at the moment. Lloyd Jones, he was Player of the Year, and he's a big player at the back alongside Gillespie. Greg Doherty is the captain. Connor Coventry is someone, he came through the ranks at West Ham, and he came to the club, and it took him a little bit of time last season to really feel his way through, but he's been a massive player for Charlton in that midfield. Interesting, Luke Berry is injured, it's Alex Gilbert stepping in for him. Thierry Small coming back in, he's a left-sided or left-footed right-sided player. He'll look to come in the inside as an inverted winger, but also he's happy to go down the outside. Very skillful, very quick as well. Tyrese Campbell kind of plays off Matty Godden almost. He comes in at the left, but he's still on that left-hand side. But Matty Godden, what he's done as well, with the popular Alfie May going, he had big shoes to fill, and I think he's been nothing short of sensational, both on the pitch and off it as well. An excellent professional.
Yep, starts tonight with 6 goals in his last 5 games here at the Valley. Wycombe lining up then with Ravitsoli in goal, Grimmer, Taylor, Bradley and Reach, Humphreys and Leahy, McCleary, Simons and Udo, and Richard Kone leads the line.
Yeah, look, Ravitsoli, people will sort of say, oh, well, on the face of it, oh dear, there's a not your first choice goalkeeper back in, but he's an excellent keeper, and many Wycombe fans believe that they're the favourite keeper, to be honest with you. He was part of that 19 match unbeaten run earlier in the season. He's played 27 times already for the club in this particular campaign, so I don't think that will be a massive thing. I think Richard Kone up front is really interesting. Obviously, he was the League One Player of the Year as well as Young Player of the Year. Sensational for 2/3 of the season, but he's just fallen away a little bit. He's definitely got the ability. but this is his first full season in professional football, senior football anyway. He's been brilliant, but can he go again? Can he keep his club going towards the final of the playoffs? And of course, Gareth McCleary, 38 today. Happy birthday, Gareth. Go out and make even more of a name for yourself than you already have over your long and illustrious career.
Yeah, some achievement to still be playing first team football at the age of 38. Briefly, Scott, how do you assess the state of the tie? 0-0 coming into this second.
Well, it's a really good question, Jim, to be honest with you, because again, on the face of it, I think if you'd have asked Charlton fans either at the start of the season or before Christmas, you got a one-off game, 0-0, starting off at the Valley to go through to the playoff final, they would have snapped your hand off. But I thought it was very interesting, but the right thing to do for Wycombe with their tactics. Been hammered just a few weeks earlier by Charlton 4-0. They had to stay in the tie, and they've done that. So on the face of it, it looks like it's all favouring Charlton and having the home support, and they will be 100% behind the Addicts tonight. But if Wycombe are to find that first goal, then it's going to be very interesting to see how the players react, but also the fans react as well. So it's probably, Charlton are the favourites, but Wycombe are still very, very, very much in this time.
You're listening to the EFL League One, live on Talksport 2 with McDonald's. Enjoy a tasty night in, delivered to your door with McDelivery. And let's hear from Charlton boss Nathan Jones, who told Talksport 2's Ian Abrahams that this is going to be a night with no hiding place.
We know the magnitude of the task and how difficult the game is going to be. We don't think it's, the job's done in any type of way. It isn't. Half the job is done when we've gone away and got a result away. Now we have to make sure that we get a positive result at home, and that gives us a wonderful opportunity of furthering the season.
You mentioned the word magnitude there. How much more pressure on you, your coaching staff, your players for this game than any of the 47 that have gone before?
It's similar. It's just obviously the occasion adds certain stuff to it, but they're all important, because if you don't win those games, you don't get to this point. So they're all pressured situations, but this is why you do the job. This is why you don't want easy games that just don't get you up, don't get you, the hairs tingling and all that. This is the type of game that you really want to go in and test yourself against. These are the games that you remember years down the line for one way or another. These are the ones you remember. I don't remember, with the greatest respect, playing against some team, but I remember the playoff semis, remember the playoff finals, I remember big games with cup game and all those things. And this is one of those games. And look, this is why you do it. This is why you sacrifice everything. This is why you go through pain. This is why you stay away from people you care about, or you have to live away from people you care about. This is the hours you do when no one else is doing them, or minimum people are doing them, and it all boils down to these occasions, and we love them.
And that's Charlton boss Nathan Jones speaking to Talksport 2. There is a huge expectation here tonight as the fireworks go off, but do the bookies agree? Time now to get an odds update with William Hill.
In the Zone on Talksport 2 with William Hill. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
And Lee Phelps joins us. Lee, very good evening to you. How are Hill's pricing this one up tonight?
Yeah, Charlton 13-10 to win in the 90 minutes, that is. The draw's 2-1, which is fairly short for a draw, and Wycombe are 9-4. It's a fascinating game. Really interested in listening to what you two said there about how this tie is balanced at the moment. I mean, you have to look at Charlton's home performances of late and think they have to have the upper hand. I mean, I think 13-10 is a touch of value. No home loss since December the 3rd in the league. That's 12 wins and 3 draws in 15 matches. And I know Wycombe are one of the best away teams in the division, but that was all kind of almost at the start of the season to the mid-season. Recently 3 wins in the last 10 away from home, so they're not really doing it. And I think 13-10 for me is a good price. Now, you can back them to win the tie. Charlton at 8-13. Wycombe are priced up at 6-5. And I just think that shows you Wycombe are odds on to win the tie, as in get through eventually tonight, but odds against to win in the 90 minutes. So I do like the 90-minute bet. I thought they came back into it late on at Adams Park, and I thought, Matty Godden had that great snapshot, which was well saved. I like him to score in tonight's game. And I think, look, if you're going for just a pure goal scorer bet, then Matty Godden's 21-10 to score at any time. He's 24-5, so just a smidgen under 5-1 to score first. I'd pair them up. I'd pair up Matt Godden to score first and Charlton to win. If you put that together as a bet builder, you need 2 or more selections to get involved in that. That's 13-2. You can add a couple more selections and then benefit from the 25% winnings boost as well. Yeah, I think Charlton have got the edge here. And you look at the last couple of seasons, and these two have played each other. 9 goals Charlton have scored. Wycombe have only scored 3 in that. I must tell you about the extra time and penalty odds after what we saw last night. It's 10-1 for Charlton to win in extra time. It's 12-1 for Wycombe to win in extra time. And it's 9-1, same price for both of them, to win on penalties. I'm looking forward to listening to it. And I know you guys are probably not wanting it to all the way to pens, but I can't wait to see what unfolds here tonight.
Nice one, Lee. Appreciate it as always. That was an odds update with William Hill, who are offering epic boosts every week until the end of the season. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
In the Zone on Talksport 2 with William Hill. 18 plus. GambleAware.org.
There's one other playoff game taking place tonight. We'll keep an eye on it for you. It's in the National League. Rochdale and Southend meeting with the right to play Forest Green away in the semi-finals, and Rochdale ahead already inside the opening 10 minutes there. Devante Rodney has scored that goal. Rochdale leading Southend 1-0. Oldham thrashed Halifax last night, and they will be playing York in the other semi-finals. We're listening to the EFL League One live on Talksport 2 with McDonald's. Enjoy a tasty night in, delivered to your door with McDelivery. That 0-0 draw in the first leg. Scott Minto came on the back of a run of 3 straight defeats to end Wycombe's season. He spent nearly 5 months in the top 2. They ended up finishing 5th. How hard is it to find some momentum for a night like tonight when the team is in form like that?
Yeah, look, on the face of it, you would say it's not easy. But I think the start of the season, Wycombe fans would have, again, absolutely snapped your hands up. Talk about Charlton wanting to do that right now, but to be in this position, it is slightly unfortunate. And obviously, Matt Bloomfield did a really good job with getting him into that position. And only Birmingham spent more time in the top 2. But you know what? I think, again, it's all about just getting your head around it. You can talk about momentum, you can talk about, who's got the better players. It's about this mentality now. It doesn't matter where teams finished in the league. And actually, Charlton only nipped above Wycombe in the last game of the season to have the second leg at home. But honestly, once you're out there, it's all about that mentality.
Well, the atmosphere has been sensational. They've been whipping it up outside in the fan park since about 4 o'clock here. And the crowd really have responded. Red and white, wherever you look. Greg Tifo away to the left-hand side as the teams came out. 1,600 travelling supporters from Buckinghamshire away to our right-hand side in the right-hand end of the Jimmy Seed stand. Their team in their 2-tone blue quartered shirts, Charlton red shirts and white shorts. It was 20 years ago today that Charlton drew here with Palace, the last game of a campaign that saw them finish 11th in the Premier League. That was a 5th successive season of consolidation in the elite. But how times have changed, because more than half of the intervening years have been spent in the 3rd tier, dreaming of those halcyon days. Are they about to take a significant step back? Wycombe, for their part, have only ever spent 1 season in the Championship, but after the 2nd best finish in the club's long history, they are also eyeing promotion in the middle of May. This is a night where one journey will end. Let me remind you of the 2 teams. Charlton, Mannion in goal. Ramsey, Jones, Gillespie and Edwards. Coventry and Doherty. Small, Gilbert and Campbell. And Godden on the bench. Mitchell, Anderson, Aniki, Watson, Kanu and Bick. And the substitute goalkeeper Maynard Brewer. Wycombe, Rabbit Soley in goal because Norris is ill. Grimmer, Taylor, Bradley and Reach. Humphreys and Leahy. McCleary, Simons and Udo. And Kone. Referee tonight, no VAR for these semi-finals, of course, is Dean Whitestone. Wycombe emerging from a huddle right in front of us. We're situated about midway inside the half that Charlton are going to be attacking in the first half. They're kicking from left to right, defending the covered end here at the Valley. And Wycombe defending the Jimmy Seed stand away to our right. Well, it's a day with the Orient for one. The season about to go west for the other. Nothing between Charlton and Wycombe in the first leg. The second, beautifully poised, will shape destinies. Just a little bit of a false start as Campbell, in his eager excitement, went before the ball was kicked. So everybody resets. Andy Whiteston now gets us underway. Massive roar going around the valley. 0-0 after the first leg. Extraordinary set of first legs where none of the home sides won in the 6 playoff semi-finals that we saw over the 3 divisions. Will a home side win tonight? Charlton will be at Wembley against Leyton Orient if that is the case. Already a free kick given Wycombe's way on halfway. Scott Minto, a long time since I've seen the Valley bouncing like this. I was fortunately here for a very dramatic playoff game 6 years ago against Doncaster, but my memories of the pre-match atmosphere is it's even better tonight.
Well, I'll tell you what, if it ends up that way, that went all the way to penalties. We could be in for a long night. But you're right, the atmosphere, just incredible. You know, I was here a couple of hours before as well, and it was building up to it. I was speaking to one of the owners before the game, and I said to him, this is what it can be on a weekly basis if we can just get out of the division. It's not an easy thing to do, even if they are to get past Wycombe tonight, and that won't be easy. Still the final to come as well. But Wycombe have started off on the front foot.
They have. 1-1 in that Rochdale Southend game in the National League, with the Shrimpers equalising. We're 80 seconds in here at the Valley, and Wycombe have a corner which has been worked short. Just outside the penalty area, but play stops before Simons, the former Chelsea man on loan from Hull, bends it inside the penalty area. The referee not happy with some of the bumping and barging going on the edge of the box, and as a consequence he's asked for the corner to be retaken. He wasn't happy and had actually blown his whistle before the initial delivery was played in. Not that whistle had been heard. Charlton have got 3 defenders trying to cope with 3 Wycombe attackers who are making a run from so deep. You almost need an aqualung. They're about 5 yards outside the penalty area, waiting for the signal. And now Leahy is ready, and again he's worked it short to Cam Humphreys. Cam Humphreys across the edge of the penalty area. Left-footed ball is clipped in and blocked. It takes a deflection, doesn't spin out of play for a throw, which was Lee's intention, and Charlton can deal with it and get it away, but only as far as Adam Reach, the former Middlesbrough and West Brom man. Plays it down the left-hand side for McCleary, who's won another corner. What a bright, enterprising, attacking start from Wycombe Wanderers inside the opening couple of minutes.
Yeah, really good start from Wycombe on the front foot. Everyone's talking about being here at the Valley, that it's Charlton who's going to start on the front foot. Well, no, it's been Wycombe. And I'll tell you what, Adam Reach, with the experience that he's got, Mike Dodds has said he's not a left back, but he can certainly do a job there, just driving run into the box and a corner for Wycombe.
And again, he's taken short by Leahy. In from Humphreys, out comes the goalkeeper. Mannion getting a punch to it. It'll break Jack Grimmer's way, and the Scotsman turns it to his left, but a little bit brisk. The pass for Humphreys, it took a deflection and goes out of play for what has been given, and I think rightly so actually, as a Wycombe throw, which Adam Reach is going to come across to take, and he's nicked a few yards. Just been told by referee Whitestone that he is aware of where the ball went out of play. I'd like Reach to make a token gesture of taking the throw from the right place, which he does, and then gets the return ball, works it back. All Wycombe Wanderers, really good early possession. I think Charlton have had a meaningful touch of the ball in Wycombe territory yet. Grimmer, the right back, that's overhit and will drift straight out of play. Diagonal from the right-hand side, which goes out, one bounce for a throw on the Charlton right. It's 0-0 here on Talksport 2. Here's Scott Minto.
Well, the Charlton fans are desperate to get behind their team, but it's Wycombe who have very much started on the front foot, and you're absolutely spot on. Charlton, 1, haven't been able to get hold of the ball, and 2, haven't been able to get into Wycombe's half, and you know, Jack Grimmer will be disappointed with the lack of quality of ball. He had no pressure to get the ball into the box, just completely hit it. And as I say, Charlton the fans will try and get behind their side, but if Wycombe can somehow quieten the crowd by being on the front foot and trying to keep control of the game, then they'll start to get nervous, the fans here.
Charlton in possession, have a throw on the right-hand touchline, which is taken by Kane Ramsey, who's one of a couple of players in this team that played for Nathan Jones at Southampton. Thierry Small is the other. ball has gone out of play for a throw, which will be taken again on the Charlton right-hand side. 10 home wins in 11. They drew with Lincoln. They've won every other game that they've played here over the last few months. Crawley, the last team to beat them here in the league, 15 games ago, and they've kept clean sheets in pretty much half of those, Charlton. And so, full of confidence, and I think they would have expected to have been chasing shadows as much as they have over the opening 5 minutes or so. It's a much better spectacle than the first leg was. Not that that's a particularly high bar to get over, but I think we are set up for a fast, frenetic and frantic game. 5.5 gone here on Talksport 2 at 0-0, and still 0-0 on aggregate.
Jim, first legs aren't always exciting. They don't have to be, but second legs kind of have to be, unless it's done and dusted. You know, so you could say maybe like the Sheffield United one in the Championship. This will be in small margins, and this will go right to the very end for sure.
Reaches ball forward, McCleary, Kone with a nice little layoff. Out it goes towards Jack Grimmer. Grimmer coming forward, just pops it off to his left-hand side for Cam Humphreys, who's playing his 50th Wycombe game tonight. Now back out to the blonde-haired Scotsman Grimmer. Plenty of lively movement to his left-hand side from Leahy. Back out to Grimmer again. A lot of Wycombe's attacking play gravitating through him in these early stages, but free kick's been given against Wycombe, which will be taken just outside the Charlton penalty area.
You know, you mentioned about that free kick a couple of minutes ago where there seemed to be a bit of arguing. The referee said no, stop, and you know, that's a continuation of what happened in the last game, and because that game just happened a few days ago, it will be in people's minds. Obviously there was that Kone tackle. Should he have been sent off? Should he not? It was physical battles all over the pitch. We haven't quite mentioned how important it is to stay disciplined in this sort of cauldron of atmosphere. If either of these two teams go down to 10 men, that particular player's letting his team down and makes it even more difficult to get through to the final.
Come back to that in a moment as the ball is played inside the Wycombe penalty area. Shot on the turn comes in from Campbell. That is effectively blocked. Another effort from distance, and a first touch of the ball from Ravazzoli, who dives to his right to deny Greg Doherty. And it remains 0-0. Going back to that point you were making, you said, should he have been sent off, should he not have been? Well, should he have been sent off, Richard Kone?
I thought you were going to ask me that. I watched the replay probably about 10 times, and I still, even in the slow motion on TV, couldn't categorically say that he meant that. So, look, it looked nasty, it was unfortunate, and you could argue, actually, it wasn't the first sort of bit, it was his second foot that came around that looked even worse. But no, I don't think there was any intention, so I don't think it should have been a sent off. But you know, it could be a 50-50 in terms of people agreeing or disagreeing.
Gilbert now towards the Charlton left. Campbell chasing after it, and after those two early Wycombe corners, now Charlton have one of their own. I think the postscript to that particular line of questioning is, if you've had a look at it that many times and you're not sure,
absolutely,
the referee has done the right thing. He has to be sure to send him off, and so consequently I think you could make a case forensically that it might have been a red card, but I agree with you. I think the decision was correct.
I actually think if we're in the Premier League, it would have been given as a sending off. It would have been overturned, but obviously there isn't VAR.
Corner taken short, worked inside the penalty area, but not to good effect, and it's rolled past everybody, past Matt Godden, and out of play for a goal kick that Ravazzoli will take away to the right-hand side. 0-0. Wycombe's form not great, as we've mentioned, but they have only conceded twice in their last 4 away games. Their away form over the course of the season really hot and cold. The most away goals in the entire English league, average nearly 2 a game. Their away record, the second best in the division. Their away record against top 7 opposition, absolutely lousy. Ball on the left-hand side with Reach, who's played it forward down the left-hand side of midfield. Thierry Small is in there to mop up. Chipped over the top, but comfortably knocked away by Sonny Bradley. And then returned back onto the head of Bradley again, who's got a good fight on his hands against Godden tonight. Ball played out to the Charlton left-hand side for Edwards. Edwards having to retrace his steps. Interesting that Wycombe so far playing with McCleary as the most advanced of the players, with Kone on the left-hand side and Udo on the right. The first leg saw Udo on the left, Kone playing through the middle. So a change of emphasis with Fred Onyedinma dropping down to the bench and Udo swap flanks and McCleary. Although he is playing as the most central of the three, but he will come back that little bit more. His probably starting position about 10 yards adrift of the wide split strikers.
Yeah, look, happy birthday to him, but he is 38. And I think to ask him to play out wide and get back and up front is going to be a very difficult thing to do.
Udo trying to get it to him inside the penalty area, but it's easily knocked away. Godden able to help it on towards Campbell. Slightly difficult one for him to field. He stumbled as he did so. He's then given a shove off the ball by Grimmer and gets a free kick, which will be taken 15 yards inside Wycombe territory over on the left-hand side.
Yeah, just on that, I mean, the fact that he's dropping off and the two wide players are almost being further forward, I think goes to show from a physical point of view, Mike Dalton's not asking him to do lots of running, just be that clever player. Use your experience now with the pace and the power of the two wider players.
He's a man who scored in an FA Cup semi-final back in the day. He's played in a Championship playoff final. He was also in the League One playoff final with Wycombe 3 years ago that they lost to Sunderland. And he's back defending here as Charlton take this free kick, swung inside the box and easily headed away. No opportunity to shoot despite the cry of the crowd. Godden's recycled it out for Campbell, hooked away by Udo inside his penalty area. Chance for Humphreys to get his foot on the ball. Just trying to lob one high up in the air. Little sand wedge for McCleary to chase. Dealt with easily though by Charlton. Thierry Smalls on the front foot. Good challenge to deny him any real room to work down the right-hand touchline. And then Leahy, having timed the slide to perfection, got up on his feet and ran out of room. He just flicked the ball just over the line. It's out for a throw that'll be taken on the Charlton right, down by the corner flag, 0-0.
It's the first time now we've seen Thierry Small sort of get the ball down and really run at players as well. Leahy did really well to come across, and Small actually had a bit of a heavy touch. It was a decent tackle, and Lee just really, he did the hard work. He should have got rid of the ball. Great opportunity for Charlton.
Long throw inside the penalty area, bounces on the edge of the 6-yard box, bit of pushing and shoving going on. No complaints from the Charlton players. It was Lloyd Jones that was just given a shove off the ball. A legitimate challenge, certainly as a centre-half himself. He wouldn't want to be playing in an environment where that was given as a penalty, because it will put doubts in your mind throughout the rest of the night when you're defending. He's played the ball back for Mannion. Now Charlton can get it forward again. Another high ball towards the edge of the Wycombe penalty area where the retreating Adam Reach has been able to head it down. It's flicked over his shoulder by Leahy. And then Godden is given something to chase. And again, that one is easily cleared. This time by Sonny Bradley on the edge of his own penalty area for Wycombe. Leahy caught in possession. Chance for Gilbert. Sets up Godden. Cross the face of the 6-yard box. But too hot for the sliding Campbell. And he goes out of play for a throw.
Well, I actually thought he was offside there, Matty Godden. The flag didn't go up. The ball was whipped across, and Tyrese Campbell, coming in from that kind of left-hand side, couldn't quite get on the end of it. But really good where Wycombe in the first leg were quite happy just to get the ball long as much as possible. There they tried to pass it, but got the ball nicked off them. It was a great opportunity for Charlton.
Throw taken up the Wycombe Wanderers right as we still wait for the breakthrough in this tie. Campbell, who's been very tricky in these early stages, goes down inside the penalty area. An angry reaction from the Addicks fans, not so from the man himself. And then a potentially awkward moment in front of us as Richard Kone came sliding through one of the technical areas, and almost like a game of 10-pin bowling, took about 4 or 5 coaches out, and he's actually stayed down hurt now. I think it counts as a spare.
I thought that was a strike, to be honest with you. But I tell you what, it was those two, obviously, what happened in the first leg, wasn't it? This time Kane Ramsey came in at Richard Kone. I actually thought it was a foul on Kone. He's gone down. He wants to try and get the referee to stop the game, but he won't. It's not a head injury.
Well, he stayed down. Still down away to our left-hand side as Charlton attack. Grimmer volleys away. Now it goes out of play, and he can receive whatever treatment is necessary. But you talked about there being a potential hangover from some of the battles on Sunday night. Used to see this back in the day, talking about cup replays, when you used to get an FA Cup tie and then 3 days later you'd have a replay and then maybe you'd have a second replay, and you knew which players were going to get booked because you knew what the lingering tensions were from the first instalment. You don't get that kind of situation very often at all now, but we've certainly got it tonight, Scott.
Well, I perhaps shouldn't say this on my Charlton youth team WhatsApp. Let's just say my old roommate Carl Leeburn is on it, who is obviously Miles Leeburn's dad. And we were talking about messaging each other about that challenge, and he just said, I would have that in mind for the second leg. I knew exactly what he meant.
Well, having watched Carl play quite a bit and knowing him a little bit, I know exactly what he means as well. Leeburn Jr., Miles, out at the moment. He's got a quad problem, and so he's not involved tonight. He's been a miss, actually, for all that you can miss a forward when you got Matt Godden in the form that he's been in, but it was Miles Leeburn that got both goals as Charlton beat Wycombe here back in December. Carl himself, a former Charlton playoff player, featured against Palace back in 1996. 65 goals he scored in 370 games, which doesn't sound spectacular, but what a player, what a difficult man, what a difficult opponent to come across. What a hugely likeable bloke as well.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, not only was he my youth teammate, he was my first teammate, he was my roommate, and I think he's one of those players that you don't actually realise how good he is unless you're on the pitch. From a defensive point of view, if you're under pressure, you can hoof the ball up there and he'd have 2 or 3 defenders hanging off him, and he'd have been able to bring it down. And certainly strike partners loved playing alongside him. And his son Miles, I think, has the chance to be an even better player and just really struggled with injuries over the last couple of seasons.
Our crowd tonight, incidentally, 25,722. Wycombe have brought 1,600 of those away to our right. Just about a sellout. Few empty seats in the Wycombe end, somewhat surprisingly. Away to our right, a few empty red bucket seats visible. I think the Wycombe supporters that are here will be delighted with the start that their side have made.
Absolutely, Wycombe have done really well at the start. I'm sure all Charlton fans will be thinking, right, get on the front foot, score that early goal, maybe even get 2. No. Wycombe are in this time. Not only that, I think they've started the better out of the two sides.
Coney's okay, incidentally, after receiving that treatment, and the ball is played in his direction now, and he's laid it off. McCleary trying to give him a return ball, and Coney very nearly being able to get round the back. He fought at what looked like a lost cause against Ramsey. It was knocked away. Charlton's long ball forward sees Wycombe win the seconds, but the Addicts can get their foot down on the ball in the midfield and drive it towards Godden. He's got Campbell in support, but he can't get a touch to find him, and then Leahy clears long to turn the Charlton back line again, and this time McCleary isn't going to be able to keep it in. You're listening to Charlton against Wycombe on Talksport 2 with McDonald's. Enjoy a tasty night in, delivered to your door with McDelivery. Now we've got some live football coming up for you over the course of this week. Tomorrow night, a choice of listening here on Talksport 2, 7:30 kickoff in the Premier League as Villa take on Spurs. They could end the night in the top 4, Villa. Tottenham could end the night knowing that they can't possibly finish outside the bottom 5. Over on Talksport, an 8 o'clock kickoff. Chelsea against Manchester United. Spurs and Man United both playing tomorrow because they're in Europa League final action on Wednesday. We're in Bilbao for that game. And between now and then, Saturday afternoon, a 4:30 kickoff for the 144th FA Cup final. And you'll be able to hear all the build-up from Wembley from 3. And that game kicks off at 4:30. Manchester City against Crystal Palace, hoping to win the Cup for the very first time. 0-0 here between Charlton and Wycombe. We played 19. Still 0-0 in the tie at large. Small, the Brummie, former Southampton man, in possession. Going down the right-hand side of the penalty area. It's not the worst ball inside the box. It didn't quite break Gilbert's way. And then Ramsey's control was poor as it was played forward. McCleary has embarrassed him and robbed him. Now Coney back to him. Udo making his way through the middle. McCleary hitting in a brisk cross. Kind of split the difference between the two players to his right-hand side. Wycombe winning a lot of second ball in midfield. And able to turn it forward again, but this time it's laid off behind Gareth McCleary. There's a poor touch from Simons and goes straight out of play for a Charlton throw. Charlton by no means having this their own way. They did have a good record against Wycombe over the course of the season. A 2-1 win here, a 4-0 win at Wycombe last month with goals from Jones, Berry, Godden and Anderson. That made the 0-0 draw between the two sides a bit more creditable as far as the Chairboys were concerned on Sunday, and their start here even more so. Campbell given something to chase with another long ball punted forward that's easily headed away at the back by Taylor. Reach, clipping it forward with his right foot, neatly taken down by Kone, but in trying to travel with the ball through the midfield, he lost out to Connor Coventry. The Irishman popping it to his right for Gilbert, who will calm things down by going 40 yards back to his goalkeeper. Here's Scott Minto.
Yeah, look, I mean, the keepers haven't really been tested as yet, but it's definitely already a better game than it was in the first leg. The atmosphere is incredible. Both teams are being on the front foot. You'd expect Charlton to, of course, but it has surprised me, but maybe it surprised Charlton as well, how much Wycombe have been on the front foot. They believe if they can go and get that first goal, then the whole atmosphere can turn around. And then it comes down to the mental strength for these Charlton players, and it's not going all the way that Charlton wants it to, for sure.
And that National League playoff quarter-final at Spotland, Rochdale have retaken the lead, 2-1 up at home at Southend. Here's Gilbert, chipping one out towards the Charlton left, as Edwards makes his way forward. He's lost it, and then Udo lost it to the lively Campbell, rescued by Humphreys, back from him to Grimmer. And a long driven ball forward is comprehensively met with an excellent Jones header. Just to get Charlton back on the front foot again. Another opportunity for Edwards to make his way forward to the edge of the penalty area. Back for the Alex skipper Doherty. And he's turning back for Coventry. Coventry out towards Campbell. Campbell, a little drop of the shoulder, getting to the byline. Has he overrun it? He hasn't. It's pulled it in for Small, whose first touch takes him back away from goal towards the edge of the penalty area. It's an excellent delivery. Small hooking it in, trying to repay the favour. Grimmer did well. He gave Campbell no space at all and eased him under the flight of the ball. And he beat the pair of them and goes out of play for a Wycombe goal kick. Midway through the first half of this second leg. And it's 0-0 at the Valley on Talksport 2.
Yeah, both the Wycombe fullbacks did really well there. First of all, it was Grimmer when Tyrese Campbell was going at him. He refused to let him inside. He had to go down the byline. Still got a decent cross in, but with no real precision. And then Thierry Small showing all the tricks, but Adam Reach didn't fall for them at all. And in the end, he had to come inside and cross it, and it was too far for Tyrese Campbell, and Grimmer just using his physicality there to make sure Campbell couldn't get the header. So well done, both the fullbacks.
Well, it was at this stage of the first leg, midway through the first half, that Wycombe had their last shot on target. Haven't had a single shot tonight, despite the fact they've had some decent possession, 50-50 the possession over the whole piece, with Wycombe probably having more of it in the first 10 minutes and Charlton more in the most recent 10. Charlton yet to have a shot on target themselves, and it took them well over an hour to have their first the other day. All the signs, for all the fact that this is a little bit more open than the first leg was, all the signs are that it might only take one moment of inspiration to settle this tonight. Ravitsoli, who was back tonight because of the illness for Will Norris, displaced as first choice goalkeeper. And when Mike Dodds came to the club, Ravitsoli hasn't played since early February. He's got a really good record over the whole season with 10 clean sheets in his 30 games, but he's conceded less than a goal a game. The Argentinian, who was first brought to English football by Eastbourne Borough, and has done well to find himself in a League One playoff semi-final with a particular pathway through the game. Credit to him. Here's Grimmer over on the Wycombe right. Ravitsoli hasn't been tested significantly yet. Here's an effort which was blazed in from the edge of the penalty area, beautifully struck by Leahy. Not one of the Charlton players off his feet, and spins off his ribcage out of play for a corner, which will be taken over on the Wycombe right-hand side. It was good, brave defending that by Doherty. You'll still be feeling it now.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a lovely little touch inside, and he struck it first time, Lee. He really struck it well. And Greg Doherty, he certainly took one for the team there. Very, very painful, but he's got up. Again, it's Wycombe on the front foot.
Corner to be taken on the Wycombe right. So left-footed in-swinger. And comfortably headed away at the back by Lloyd Jones. A little bit too easy, the ball back from McCleary, who can deliver again as a collision around the penalty spot. The referee has spotted that and given a free kick Charlton's way. Well, that will just take the sting out of the situation as far as the addicts are concerned. What's Nathan Jones thinking there, Scott Minto? This might not necessarily have panned out through the opening 25 minutes as he was anticipating. What does he need to see change?
No, I think he would have said this could be very, very tight. Obviously, he would have wanted Charlton to be more dominant with the ball, to creating chances. You know, there's not been a shot on target, according to the stats, from either side. But what he'll want to do, he'll want to control more the tempo of the game, and that's down to the midfielders. They've got to try and get hold of the ball, try and get the wide players more involved. Thierry Small, we've already seen running at Adam Reach. Reach has done well so far, but he's got the pace and the skill. Small and Tyrese Campbell on the other side as well. So the wide players haven't really got involved, but it's the central midfield that haven't been hold of the ball and controlling that tempo.
Doherty has chipped a beautiful ball over the top. Small chasing, really well watched by Reach as it dropped over his shoulder, and he was able to instantly toe poke it to safety. Back to his goalkeeper Ravazzoli. Charlton trying to win it again in the midfield. Not the best header from Connor Coventry. First to the scene is Simons. Now Wycombe working it out towards the left-hand side for Kone. McCleary waiting on the right-hand side. It was actually delivered towards Udo, who'd made his way through the middle that time, but too long for him. And it goes through to Will Mannion, the former Cambridge goalkeeper, between the sticks for Charlton, who just bounces it once and bowls it out of the left-hand side for Gillespie. 0-0.
It was a good run as well, and Lee knows that he didn't have any pressure on the ball. He played the ball in behind. If it had been a more precise pass, then he would have been in through on goal. So, you know, half an opportunity there.
Luke Lee here, a player with plenty of playoff experience. He's had 3 campaigns in the past. Made his name with Falkirk. There's Ravazzoli taking a touch, driving it forward. You can see the black markings on the white ball spin as he launches it long down towards Kone. And it's gone past him and out for a throw, which will be taken again on the Charlton right-hand side. 27 minutes where neither goalkeepers had the chance to enhance their CV so far. 0-0.
I'll tell you one thing that Nathan Jones would have said, and he'd be quite happy at the moment, to Kane Ramsey, when he realised Kone was coming out on the left. Do not get caught up with what happened in the first leg, and he will be physical. He is physical, Kone. So Kane Ramsey, very good right back. He's had a great season for Charlton, loves to bomb on as much as possible, might have to do a job defensively here, but what he doesn't want to do, again, we go back to discipline, is get caught into any kind of altercation with him.
Has got just a little bit of brief Premier League experience, Ramsey. She'll serve him in good stead tonight. Gilbert with a high swinging ball out of the Charlton left, brought down by Edwards, and now played through towards Doherty. He's been caught in possession, and having been caught, forced to take matters into his own hands, has wrestled Humphreys to the floor and concedes a free kick. I think that's probably the closest that Dean Whiteston's been tempted to producing a yellow card tonight, but stays in his pocket and it remains 0-0.
Yeah, I don't think it was a yellow, it was a definite foul, but you know, again, we talked about the midfield of Charlton not quite getting hold of the game, so we've got to give credit to Humphreys and Leahy. Leahy especially, he's getting on the ball as much as possible, and much as he overhit that last pass a minute or so ago, he won the tackle there and just stopped the stem of Charlton going forward. He's had an excellent start so far.
Chairboys again flighting it forward towards the edge of the penalty area. Right, it's easily dealt with. Taylor have made his way forward from the back, and he's now got to trot all the way back. Now in doing so, just tells his goalkeeper Ravazzoli just to wait with the ball at his feet for a moment to give him the chance to get back in his own time, which he's done now. Back in position. And there's Ravazzoli in all yellow. Another ball flighted forward. He gets real pace on those deliveries upfield. Quite flat. He was looking for McCleary. All he could do was to try and flick it on, and it's gone straight out of play for a throw that'll be taken on the Charlton left. The Addicts coming into this having lost only one of their last 9 games, which was a match against Wrexham. Might, in a way, funny kind of way, have done them a favour. I always think that if you go into a playoff campaign when you've failed to win promotion on the last day of the season. It's sometimes a little bit more difficult to get your head around than if you've had a fortnight or so before the playoffs start, just to contemplate what your fate is, and you can prepare appropriately. It's Connor Coventry bringing it forward. Grimmer in really strong. He got the better of Campbell. Now Jack Grimmer can bring it forward again. Showed too much of it to Doherty and immediately lost it.
Yeah, you mentioned about that Wrexham game. It didn't play well at all. I hosted an event here at the Valley with the fans coming in, and I thought it was a little bit not been able to handle the occasion. But what I do think, and did think at the time, is that we're giving them a really good sort of rehearsal for the pressure of the playoffs. And then they had that Burton game where they came back from behind and won 3-1. So that was really important from a psychological point of view. But again, Jim, how many times do we say it? The playoffs don't care about what happened in the league. You know, Wycombe, Charlton have done a double over Wycombe in the league, and yet look at them now. Mike Dodds will be absolutely delighted with how this game has gone so far.
Another long ball forward from the back from Ravitsoli. Charlton repel it, but Grimmer can stick his foot on it. Out towards McCleary. And now Leahy in his white boot showed too much of it to Gilbert, who's in strongly with the challenge. Oh, it was an angry reaction for a moment by Leahy, although that might have actually been directed at his teammates rather than at Gilbert for the challenge. I think Leahy felt that he either didn't get a shout of man on, or there weren't the passing options that he was anticipating in that position. But no harm done from a Wycombe perspective, and they've taken the throw, got it back to their goalkeeper, and Ravitsoli again looks long. Another 70-yard ball punted forward, flicked on through the midfield by Humphreys. Coventry though wins it back, and then it's a disappointing attempt to play an incisive ball for Goddard, who they just haven't been able to get into the game so far, and Edwards was quick to apologise. He raised the left hand above his head. As soon as he hit that, he knew his shoulder slumped, and he missed a good opportunity just to flight one in over the top.
But this is what I was talking about, the start so far of Wycombe, whether you get the first goal or not, if they can try and not turn in the crowd by any stretch of the imagination. But Edwards is now forcing the ball that he didn't need to force. The fans groaned a little bit. It's been perfect really for Mike Dodds. It's almost been, you know, what it would have been perfect is a goal, but certainly in terms of 0-0 and the way the game has gone so far, it's been absolutely, Wycombe have given as much, if not a little bit more, than Charlton.
Combined XG between the two sides so far tonight of 0.09. Tells you everything you need to know. If you're joining us late, have you missed much? No, not an awful lot. Some good Minto anecdotes, but in terms of what's been on the field, it has been everything you would expect from a very tense playoff encounter between two so closely matched teams. Just 1 point between them over the course of 46 games in the regular season. Tell you what is interesting though, of the four sides in the playoffs, if you drew up a mini league between those four, Charlton would have come out way on top. 14 points, 4 wins and 2 draws from the 6 games against the other sides that finished 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. Wycombe for their part, 6 points. Both have a better record than Orient, who they are hoping to be playing in the final. Here's Campbell chasing forward. Bradley had a nervous look and he saw that Campbell was bearing down on him really quickly, and in the end he did really well, the man on loan from Derby. Shepherded the ball towards the line. Contact between the two players was inevitable. Bradley made sure that Campbell ended up on the deck, but by fair means not foul. It's out of play for a goal kick, and it's still 0-0.
Well, he used every bit of his physicality and experience there, didn't he? Tyrese Campbell clearly quicker, but once he realised, okay, he's going to catch me up, but you try and get around me, you ain't going to do that, and he did really well in the end.
Reach with the long ball forward. Good header by Jones. Back down the Charlton right-hand side. Campbell, who's not had too much joy against Grimmer, so he's come across and stationed himself for a moment between Reach and Bradley. Charlton win a throw, Gilbert makes a mess of it, and it ends up going out of play for a Wycombe throw. And Simons took intelligently, but the problem was he took it from the wrong place. It was a really good throw infield quickly for Udo, but The referee rightly has pulled him back. He clearly gained an advantage from nicking 6 or 7 yards. So it's going to be a Wycombe throw that Adam Reach will take, and we're about 10 minutes from half-time here on Talksport 2.
Yeah, I'll tell you what's interesting. It's not Kone that switched over. It's actually McCleary and Udo. So Udo's playing down the middle, and McCleary's playing out on the right, Kone's playing on the left. But from a Charlton point of view as well, when your wide players have not really got into the game, it's worth just switching them over. Just ask the fullbacks a few questions, because at this moment in time, Adam Reach and Jack Grimmer would be delighted with how they've played so far.
Well, the ball has stopped. The referee has stopped play because one of the Wycombe players has gone down, having been hurt. There was a ball that was just punted up through the midfield. A Charlton player about to get sandwiched in that aerial challenge, got out of the way, and the two Wycombe players coming in from either side collided with each other. And one of them is down in need of a little bit of treatment. And that's an awkward one.
The XG hasn't gone up.
And the XG is still nice and consistent.
It's close, it's level, but it's low. And look, if you're expecting goals, I think this tie between these two, it's not going to be that. It might just be over the 2 games. 1 goal wins it. Or we might go all the way to penalties. I do think, though, Jim, it's a bit of brilliance. I hope it's not a mistake from either side. But we're in for a long night.
The bottom line is, it doesn't matter. If you're a supporter of a team in the playoffs, and I speak from very recent experience, it doesn't matter. All you want is to see your side progress. You don't care. You don't care about the quality. And this isn't low quality, by the way. It's 2 sides cancelling each other out rather than 2 sides who are poor. But you don't care. You don't care what you're watching. All you care about is what the score is at full time.
Absolutely. Again, speaking to Charlton fans beforehand, I mentioned about that Doncaster game. And they were like, oh, please, no. And I said, well, do you know what? I'll take that right now if it means that Charlton can go on and get into the final. I'm sure that Wycombe fans will feel exactly the same. As long as when their head hits the pillow, their team has gone through to the final, they'll take however it comes.
Yeah, Charlton have lost their last 2 home games in the playoffs. That Doncaster one in 2019, which they lost but ultimately won on penalties, and Shrewsbury in 2018, the previous season. They were promoted, having seen off the challenge of Donny in 2019. They won the final, came straight back down again, and as Scott was saying earlier, I think that's their only season in the last 9 that they've been out of the 3rd tier. It's their 5th consecutive season, and that's the longest run they've had outside the top 2 divisions since the 1920s, a century ago. Ramsey will take a throw. Simons is okay after receiving the treatment from that heavy whack that he took from Leahy. And Charlton have the opportunity to load the penalty area here with Edwards coming across. Josh Edwards, the former Dunfermline man, doesn't launch a long one inside the box. Coventry is played in. He has knocked it short. Godden chipping it in. Great chance, and the diving header goes way wide. What an opportunity. He came out towards Godden, who turned, fired across in. Jones was waiting for it. Such a dependable player with his head in both penalty areas normally. And he must have come off the side of his head or his shoulder. It's gone about 6 yards wide.
Honestly, Jim, what an opportunity. By far and away the biggest opportunity of the game so far from either side. I'm kind of thinking, well, Josh Edwards, you've run all this way and yet you've played a short throw-in. Just get it in the box, especially with the power and length that he's got. But actually, Conor Coventry does really well. Great run for Matty Godden. Lovely chip to the far post. And yes, he's got to kind of move his body a little bit more and come backwards. But that is a wonderful opportunity for Lloyd Jones and Charlton.
Still 0-0, but it piqued the interest of XG for the first time tonight. Bradley getting it back for Ravitsoli. Lets it run to the edge of his 6-yard box, and now he will drive it back forward over halfway. Ramsey going up against Kone, and I wonder whether the decision to play Kone exclusively on the left so far is to try and get at Ramsey after that first leg. His Small's done really well. Clipped by Gilbert, it's come off Humphreys, goes out for another Charlton corner, their first for a while, with 6 to go to half-time at 0-0 on Talksport 2.
And now it feels like Charlton are just starting to step it up a bit. I mean, Wycombe have been brilliant so far. They've been really good negating Charlton's forward players. They've got to make sure they get to half-time to keep it 0-0. For Charlton's point of view, if they are able to get that goal just before half-time, everything changes in terms of the complexity of this tie.
And they are such a good side at being able to protect leads as well. Gilbert taking this corner, goes really deep. Back in from Jones. Header straight into Grimmer. He's ended up on the deck. Then there's an angry reaction. Jones gets back to his feet and goes not quite head-to-head with Grimmer. There was clear daylight between the pair of them, but also clearly very angry words. But Jones ended up on the deck. The referee had spotted an infringement before the ball got there. But Jones wasn't trying to win a penalty. He'd fallen over, really. Headed it at close range from Grimmer. Maybe Grimmer felt as though he should have heard the whistle and that Jones had a free shot and just headed it straight at his head from close range. Well, there was an angry reaction between the pair of them. And that's the nearest we've come to the red mist descending so far tonight.
Yeah, they're on the edge, aren't they, those two? You can see Grimmer, tough. Right back, he's very versatile, can play as a centre-half as well, and has done when he's been playing in a 3. And then Lloyd Jones, I mean, he's what, about 6'4"? Would have been some wrestle that.
Did score out Wycombe in the league 3 weeks ago. Lloyd Jones, the former Liverpool apprentice. Coventry came through the ranks across the river at West Ham. Now towards Edwards. So many of the playoff games have been played on glorious late spring days so far. This one the exception, under leaden skies here in southeast London tonight, making it look a lot darker than it often does at this time of night, at this time of year. Charlton have got it again, down towards Small. It's unseasonably cool but dry. Small coming towards the edge of the penalty area, dropping his shoulder, now trying to get in between Reach and Simons. Having done that, his touch was too heavy, and Leahy could easily clear towards halfway. McCleary's battling, but lost the battle to Jones. He can play it forward towards Gilbert. Now back towards Gillespie, who's inside his own half of the centre circle when he fields that, and he goes out to the left back, Edwards. Edwards getting it down the line. Campbell trying to get goal side of Grimmer. Keeps his feet. He's inside the penalty area. Takes it back out again. An opportunity for Doherty, and he wins another corner as the cross is blocked.
Grimmer's done really well there because he got caught out a little bit. The ball was played inside him. He used his pace. Tyrese Campbell's quicker, but he made sure Campbell couldn't get across him, and then he had to go back, the youngster. So again, good full-back play from Grimmer. But Charlton are stepping up. They've been a lot better in the last 5 or so minutes.
Yep, it's been the best 5-minute spell that either side have had over the course of this game, and arguably over the course of the whole tie so far. 2.5 to the break, 0-0. In comes another corner from Gilbert's, headed away by Coney. Godden had gone down inside the 6-yard box. No complaints when nothing is given his way. And Campbell, who's still only 21, he's got 120-odd Charlton games behind him. He's just picked up that on halfway and goes all the way back to his goalkeeper. Play down now towards Gillespie, whose only previous playoff campaign came for Brisbane Roar. Not too many League One players can say that. Udo heads long diagonal away, goes out for a throw that'll be taken over on the Charlton left-hand side, and all of a sudden, the way the game's developing, Mike Dodds will be pretty eager to hear the half-time whistle, just so that he can get his side in. Ramsey looking it forward towards Small, who tried to scoop the ball with his left foot past Reach, and Leahy was in to cover that. Then when it's helped on by Udo, it's brought down by Gillespie. Good ball forward through the midfield. Is comfortably cut out by Leahy on the edge of the centre circle. He got it away from Cochrane, who left the foot in there. That was a little bit naughty. Yellow card and no surprise. And a free kick to Wycombe on halfway. Cochrane, the first player to have his name taken. And I think, having seen the first leg, that the fact we got to 44 minutes before the referees brandished the yellow card is something of a surprise. Cochrane is in the book.
Yeah, I'm surprised after how the first leg went. But Lee, again, he's just sitting in front of the back four, reading the game, and as he's laid it off, Doherty's just absolutely just took him out, really.
8th yellow card of the season for Doherty, to go along with the One red card that he's had. He's once scored a winner in a playoff final back in his days with Hamilton Accies. Greg Doherty. So the free kick taken by Leahy, bounces inside the penalty area. Chance for Reach, who struck it sweetly left-footed, but there were so many Charlton bodies right in front of him that he couldn't get it through the traffic. Charlton clear towards Campbell on halfway. And now chipped forward over the top by Gilbert. Small couldn't quite get there ahead of Leahy, who came across and covered in behind Reach, but his clearance wasn't the best. Gilbert, 3 minutes of time being added at the end of this first half here on Talksport 2. Ball goes back to Coventry. Jones out towards Ramsey. Gilbert again, making his way forward towards the edge of the penalty area. Small with a little step up against the better of Reach. Time to measure the cross. Grimmer knocks it away. Back in from Ramsey. Well volleyed clear at the back by Sonny Bradley. Another delivery comes in from Gilbert. Another volley clearance just buys Wycombe a little bit of time. Bradley able to repel a lot of the threats at the moment, but they're coming quickly now. Gilbert getting it forward. Campbell, just lost his footing. Looked as though Bradley might have caught him. I'm sure he didn't. He's either fallen over the ball or slipped. And he gets back to his feet and he has a word with Bradley. He's made no attempt to win a penalty there by diving. And it will be a goal kick which will be taken by Ravazzoli. 0-0 in the second minute of first half stoppage time.
Yeah, he's tried to do a little Cruyff turn, but running at pace with the ball coming at pace and turning your body and getting the right touch is a difficult thing to do. But Sonny Bradley using, brilliant defensive football intelligence by not trying to dive in. If he'd have tried to get his foot in there and would have made any kind of contact, it would have been a penalty when there's no way Tyrese Campbell could have made a goal scoring opportunity out of it.
Now Godden will chase another ball that is played forward, and that again rolls through to Ravazzoli. The play stops for a moment. Lee's come across and had a word with the referee, and Jack Grimmer as well. The referee asks for the ball from the Wycombe goalkeeper Ravazzoli, and play will restart with a drop ball to Wycombe and to their keeper inside the box. He's just having a word with him, I think, to explain exactly what's happened. Restarts play.
Well, it's so tight, Jim, that it's still waiting for a shot on target. I wonder whether the referee was going to pick up the ball and try and ping it in the back of the net and say, there's your first shot on target.
Yep, 47 minutes in. And three off target attempts, for Charlton, 2 for Wycombe. But the Lloyd Jones header is the only opportunity that either side have been able to create that has been significant. Here's McCleary. XG incidentally suggesting he should have scored it 30% of the times that he would have taken that header, and didn't even get it on target. McCleary sending a high hanging cross in here which goes straight out of play. By the time this goal kick is taken by Mannion, I think the referee will have blown for half-time. Just a few extra seconds to be added on after that drop ball incident a couple of moments ago. So Mannion spotting it down. And now rushes forward, hits it right-footed, and that is half-time. So we're still no closer to knowing who will be playing Leyton Orient at Wembley a week on Sunday. Half-time in the second leg, and it is still 0-0 on aggregate, Scott.
We've still got no idea who is going to play Leyton Orient in the League One playoff final. Wycombe have come here. Mike Dodds will be absolutely delighted with how that first half has gone. Not only have Charlton not scored, but as we said, they haven't had a shot on target. There was that one really good chance in Lloyd Jones, and I think XG's probably done him a bit of a favour. I think it should be a little bit higher than 30%, to be honest with you, but still, it's a clean sheet so far for Wycombe. The fans are still trying to get behind Charlton, and they have stepped it up in the last 10 minutes, Charlton Athletic, there's no doubt about it, but 0-0, Wycombe would be the happier.
So much to play for. Nathan Jones will at least have been happy with the way that the half ended, because we talked in commentary the last 7 or 8 minutes, although it dropped off a little bit in stoppage time, but they had a good 6, 7, 8 minute spell, Charlton, the best of the game so far. They had that one attempt from Jones. Campbell was getting to the byline more readily. Small was coming into it a little bit more as well. That's the kind of passing exchange that we need to see more of in the second half from a Charlton perspective.
Yeah, I mean, you asked me on about the half-hour mark, or just a little after, what do Charlton need to do? Why aren't they controlling this game? And, you know, I said it's because the midfield are not getting hold of it and not getting the wide players involved. And actually, since then, the wide players were getting a lot more involved. Thierry Small, I mean, Adam Reach has done really well. I think Jack Grimmer's done superbly well. But there's no doubt about it, in a one-on-one situation, these wide players of Charlton feel like they've got the better, and there's been a couple of really good crosses from Thierry Small. I do think Luke Berry's being missed. Alex Gilbert's trying his best, but he's not quite got the experience and football intelligence of a Luke Berry. But yeah, last 10-15 minutes, Nathan Jones will be saying, come on, we need to do that for the whole of the second half now.
And what about from a Wycombe perspective? Mike Dodds will be happy with the way that his side are defending, but they're not creating an awful lot. They still haven't had a shot on target in the tie since the midway point of the first half of the first leg. So how do they create more opportunities? How do they get Kone more into the game?
Yeah, I mean, they could try playing Kone up front. He's not been doing that, as he's been playing out on the left, and it's been McCleary, coming out on the right sometimes with Udo down the middle. But I think he'd be happy, Jim. You saw in the first leg, quite happy, to make sure they didn't concede. I think he'd be quite happy with 0-0 going into extra time, and maybe even penalties itself, because Charlton have done the double over them in the league season, and you would think here at the Valley would go on and win this game. Not been the case at all. The longer it goes on like this, the more nervous the Charlton fans will be.
It is tight and tense on Talksport 2. Half-time in the second leg of the League One playoff semi-final. Still, Charlton 0, Wycombe 0, 0-0 on aggregate. And we got the second half to come here on 2.
Talksport Podcast League. Outspoken. The best of White and Jordan.
White versus Jordan. Now with added time.
Simon and I have a different sort of opinion on this, as we do on various things.
When the mics go live, the gloves come off.
That wasn't a proper fight. That was a tune-up. Oh, no. Come on.
Opinionated debate as combat sport.
And most of these teams have underachieved.
Outspoken.
Listen or download for free on the Talksport app.
My goodness, who could argue?
On your phone, on your smart speaker.
Or from your favourite podcast portal.
EFL Live on Talksport 2 with McDonald's. Order McDelivery on the McDonald's app and get reward points too. 18 plus participating restaurants. Delivery fees and terms apply. See mcdonalds.com.
It's the summer of loving long days, warm nights and all things that sizzle. Like M&S best ever cherrywood smoked pork shoulder posh dogs. 100% British beef smashed burgers and hot and smoky Nduja king prawn skewers. Stop it, M&S. You'll have to pry me away from the barbecue with a spatula. This is not just food. This is summer-loving M&S food. Subject to availability. T's and C's apply.
I feel it's the running with you. I feel it's the playing with you. I feel it's the snuggling too.
Protect your dog from fleas and ticks with new Front Pro chewable tablets. Easy to give, each tablet offers 1 month's protection, helping to keep your dog happy, healthy and close. Because nothing should come between you. Front Pro chewable tablets from the makers of Frontline. Available online or in-store from pet specialist retailers. For more information, see uk.frontline.com. Contains afoxolana.
Let me go straight to the point. When you're laying a patio or driveway, you need Seeker Fast Fix. It's ready mixed, easy to use and quick to apply. Plus it comes in 5 colours and you can use it in any weather. Transform your next project with confidence. Transform it with Seeker Fast Fix. And you'll finish a quality job in no time at all. Seeker stockist now at seeker.co.uk/landscaping.
At William Hill Vegas, we're bursting with great casino games and offers. We're packed full of brand new slots like Buffalo Blitz Cash Collect and Fish in Frenzy Even Bigger Fish 2 Rapid Fire. We've got all the classics, all at your fingertips. Plus, you can get 10 free spins on Squealin' Riches too. That's 10 free spins for new and existing customers. Only at William Hill Vegas. Bursting with entertainment. Online only. Opt-in required. 1 per customer. Free spins expire in 24 hours. Ends 31/05/2025. T&Cs apply. Play responsibly.
Ready, steady, the Toyotathon is on! Race down to your nearest Toyota centre and save up to an extra £1,000 on a new Toyota. But hurry! Deals must end 31st of May. The Toyotathon sale event is on. Offer valid on eligible new vehicle orders 1st to 31st of May and registered by 31st of July 2025. Retail customers only. T&Cs apply. See toyota.co.uk for details.
Take my money. Let the ceremony of succulence commence. The KFC Kentucky Original Wrap for $2.49. Visualize the wrap. Order the wrap. Eat the wrap. Get the deal? Believe in chicken. KFC. Until 5th of October, subject to availability. Participating restaurants only. Not available on delivery. See website for full T&Cs.
From the touchline to the terraces, the League One playoff semi-finals, live on Talksport
2. Chelsea find themselves 2-0 down, and this is significant in the race for the top 5.
All season, top 4, top 5. It's naturally that the target is to finish champion.
If he wins the European trophy and finishes top 5, I don't know what more he can do.
I think Chelsea right now, look, they're in the box seat. If they do what they can do, it's in their hands.
Now the focus is on Friday game. We need to win.
Bruno Fernandes, what a finish, what a goal for Manchester United.
To be Champions League is very difficult, and they are not teams contender more than us, and they are in front of us.
Tottenham are going to rest a load of players, and they're there for the taking, right? By playing them on the Friday and winning the game, you're putting the pressure on the teams who've got to play Sunday, who are fighting for the Champions League spot.
As much as I would love Villa to make it.
Watkins, can he get there? He's round the keeper. Ollie Watkins for Aston Villa.
Europe.
Johnson, then back to Porro's first time cross towards Solanke with a brilliant header.
You're listening to the EFL playoffs live on Talksport 2 at half-time. Charlton 0, Wycombe 0. We'll have second half commentary to come shortly, but we will be bringing you a double header of live Premier League football tomorrow night. Over on Talksport from 8:15, Chelsea against Manchester United. Here on Talksport 2, Villa look to continue their pursuit of a top 5 finish when they host Spurs at 7:30. Now, win for Villa will see them move back into the top 4 ahead of the other teams playing. And after becoming Aston Villa's record goal scorer in the Premier League last time out, Ollie Watkins has been speaking with the man that he took the record off. Talksport's Gabby Agbonlahor.
A great feeling for me personally, because I'd set my eyes on that target, and you know, it's an achievement that I should be proud of. But I did think initially it was offside. When I seen the VAR go up, I thought, oh no, I'm going to have to wait a little bit longer. But yeah, it was nice that it went in my favour. I was onside, and like I said, a great feeling. So yeah, I think you need to celebrate achievements like this. You know, it's massive really, and you know, to play for a club like Villa and score this many goals in the Premier League with some of the names that you see is something I'm really proud of.
Surely the next target now, mate, should be to get into the 100 club.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's not that many players that have done that. So, you know, 100 Premier League goals is something that I've got my eyes on. I've got a mirror at home actually, and I've wrote in my dressing room. I wrote all my targets on there. It's nice that I've ticked off the other record, and yeah, that's the one that I've got my eyes set on.
Do you know what I love, mate, about when I watch you is that even if you miss a couple of chances, you got that self-belief that the next one's going to go in, and that's part of being a striker, isn't it? You're going to miss chances, you're going to be frustrated at chances you should score, but you know the next one you're going to put in the back of the net.
For me, you've got to have that belief, and at the end of the day, if you're a striker, you know that's your position, and you wouldn't want anyone else on the team, the chances to fall for anyone else apart from yourself. So you always have to back yourself. Obviously there is times in the season where you have self-doubt and stuff, but that's normal, and there's always going to be good times and times where you don't score, but you just got to keep working hard, and that's something that I'm really big on. Working hard, and you'll get through the bad times, and it'll soon come good. So yeah, I think just trying to be consistent and score goals and bring something to the team.
I want to ask you about the manager now, mate. On Friday night against Spurs, it's going to be his 100th Premier League game in charge of Aston Villa. I want to ask you what he's done off the pitch to change the club and have you challenging at the top of the table.
Difficult to say really, but for us, I feel like, not getting into too many politics, the owner has a lot of trust in the manager, and he leaves it all down to him. He knows he's got experience at other clubs and stuff like that, but I think he's made everyone feel like a big family, and everyone feel welcome. There's no sort of cliques or anything like that. He's really big on, trusting people and being humble and, even speaking to the pop washers and stuff like that. Just make everyone feel together, really. And I think that's what he's brought to the club, but also the style of play on the pitch is completely different.
Now that's Ollie Watkins, 75 Premier League goals for Aston Villa. Speaking of Gabby Agbonlahor, who scored a mere 74. Now, this fixture's been moved to give Spurs more time to prepare for next Wednesday's Europa League final against Manchester United, which you'll be able to hear on Talksport. And after losing Deki Kulusevski ahead of that game in Bilbao, and Postecoglou's reflected on playing most of the season with key players absent.
Look, I guess because it's been a constant with us during the year, we've kind of become almost accustomed to it, and I think it would probably be a bigger issue if sort of we've had a smooth run all year and sort of got hit with injuries now, and we kind of had to deal with missing key players. But we've pretty much been without key players the whole season. There hasn't been a time where you kind of go, oh, we've had a 3 or 4 week spell with our strongest lineup fairly settled. So yeah, the boys are sort of getting on with it. They're disappointed for the people involved. Obviously, Deki being the latest one, because he had a fantastic sort of first part of the year for us and was just working his way back into it. But at the same time, as I keep saying to the group all along, you can't pick and choose when these opportunities come along. There could be other years where we don't have these disruptions and don't have injuries, but we don't get to a final. So the reality of it is now the opportunity's there, and whatever happens between now and then, we've got to make sure we're ready for it.
And you can hear Aston Villa against Spurs here on Talksport 2 tomorrow night. Build-up starts at 7:15 ahead of the 7:30 kickoff. And over on Talksport at 8:15 tomorrow, Chelsea host Man United in another huge game in the race for the top 5. Chelsea still occupy that 5th and final Champions League spot. They're only ahead of Villa on goal difference. And ahead of the game, their manager Enzo Maresca says they're on the right track if they do hold on to qualify for the Champions League next season.
So since day one, I said that the target that the club gives to me was in 2 years we want to play Champions League. Okay? Since day one. But when you arrive to March and you have been all season top 4, top 5, it's naturally that the target is to finish Champions League. So the reason why it changed from beginning is because we arrived to March international break. I still remember that we were there all season. So it's normal that then the target became to finish top 4, top 5. So what changed is that because we have been there all season, the target automatically became finish top 4, top 5.
So I don't want to put words in your mouth, but basically you've overachieved this season, right?
I said many times already that I think we had a good season that can become a very good season if we are able to finish top 5 and also if we are able to win the Conference League.
And you can hear Chelsea against Manchester United live on Talksport tomorrow night. All the build-up from 7 ahead of that later 8:15 kickoff. There's one other game taking place in the playoffs tonight. It's that National League playoff quarter-final. Rochdale now 3-1 up at home to Southend. Anthony Rodney has just scored his 2nd goal in that game. This one still 0-0 between Charlton and Wycombe. The 2 sets of players out for the second half, but no sign of any changes, no sign of any changes tactically as far as Wycombe are concerned either. And I know we've already touched upon it, Scott Minto, but Richard Coney playing out on the left-hand side. I know he's without a goal in his last 9 games, but it's an interesting tactic. Has Mike Dodds overthought it?
Possibly. Again, I go back to the thing. I actually genuinely think Mike Dodds will take a 0-0 at the end of 90 minutes and maybe even at the end of 120 and go to penalties. But I think he's thinking that maybe the likes of Lloyd Jones, so big, so physical, and dealt with him in both the league games. He didn't have a shot on target, did he, at the weekend? So maybe just a way of trying to get him to come and get involved in the game, but he hasn't been really going forward.
Well, we're back underway. Charlton kicking from right to left towards the old covered end here at the Valley, and they're in possession. An early opportunity to try and take on Jack Grimmer, but Edwards couldn't find a way past. One man in the book so far, that's Greg Doherty. And still 0-0 the score. It was Wycombe that came flying out of the traps in the first half, but Charlton have done likewise in this second, and they've got an opportunity to launch a long throw. Edwards had one in the first that he actually threw the ball short. Charlton had loaded the penalty area. Little variation on the theme coming that time. Not this time. Little flick out towards the far post. Gilbert! And it's taken a deflection. Good covering by Udo, who tracked him every step of the way and got in the way of Gilbert's volley from about 6 yards at a tight angle and deflected behind for a corner.
Well, when you got the length of the throw-in of Josh Edwards, it's like a corner or free kick. And then if you can get the flick on, or even if you don't, win the knockdowns, get the second ball, and Alex Gilbert was in at the far post there. Good defending from Wycombe. Under pressure, they cannot afford to concede early on.
In comes this first corner of the second half, and it's been pinged all the way through. Quite a flat delivery. It's beaten everybody, including Gillespie, who's coming in at the far post. Goes out for a goal kick that will be taken by Ravitsoli. These the teams: Charlton, Mannion in goal, Ramsey, Jones, Gillespie and Edwards, Coventry and Doherty, Small, Gilbert and Campbell and Godden. Wycombe have got Ravitsoli in goal, Grimmer, Taylor, Bradley and Reach, Humphreys and Leahy, McCleary playing through the middle with Udo and Kone either side of him, and Simons in behind. Ravitsoli taking the goal kick. Bounces over halfway, and then it's volleyed back forward again, and it's easily cleared by Jones.
Yeah, I mean, Wycombe, as you said, started the first half really well. If they can somehow get control of the start of the second half, then things will start to get nervy in and around here at the Valley, but Charlton will be trying very much on the front foot.
Here's Grimmer. Coney trying to find a way through, and still getting involved in the wrestling match as the ball is played out towards the right-hand side. Charlton can clear, get it away from Humphreys. He covered an awful lot of ground there, Richard Coney, and he had Gillespie with him, pulling his shirt. They were both at it, desperately trying to steal a march on their direct opponent. Dean Whitestone didn't like the look of what he saw there, and he's just calming the pair of them down and telling them that that's not acceptable.
Yeah, and it's interesting now, Kone's out on the right-hand side. McCleary's on the left, and Izudo is playing further up. So again, Mike Dodds is trying to switch his front three, trying to get the Charlton defence being asked questions.
Ball bouncing through the midfield. Grimmer can meet it on the half volley and just drive it up. McCleary coming to meet it. Headed away by Gillespie. Volleyed back by Bradley. And headed out of play by Edwards for a throw that will be taken on the Wycombe right. 4 minutes gone in the second half. 0-0 on the night, still 0-0 on aggregate. Humphreys had the ball in his hand. He motioned Grimmer towards him so that he could hand the ball to Grimmer for him to take a throw, and as soon as Grimmer got close to him, he threw it straight past him to try and get Wycombe to build from the back. Charlton not deceived by that, won it back pretty much instantaneously. And then Gilbert turns it forward. Campbell has worked it off Grimmer and straight out of play for a throw that again will be taken on the Charlton left. And it's not a dissimilar pattern of play early in this second half to that we saw for the vast majority of the first. The side sharing possession, neither able to make any real significant headway.
No, but you do get the feeling if the two wide players of Charlton, Tyrese Campbell and Thierry Small, can get at their fullbacks one-on-one, every chance they can create some havoc. But the fullbacks so far have actually done really well. Grimmer just again 30 seconds ago got really tight to Tyrese Campbell. He knows if it's a flat race then Campbell's going to get past him, so he's not giving him the ability to actually try and get his proper stride through, and it's really good fullback play it is. Once those Charlton players can get forward, then the game suddenly opens up and Wycombe are on the back foot. But at the moment, Wycombe defending again very well indeed.
And Matt Godden hasn't had a chance worthy of the name. Worth just reiterating his numbers really. 21 goals this season, including 6 in his last 5 games here. Man who's played in a championship playoff final for Coventry, one that they lost to Luton a couple of years ago on penalties. He's got a really good record against Wycombe as well, including scoring a hat-trick against them back in his Sky Blues days. Tonight, just hasn't had any service at all, to Wycombe's credit. And now Wanderers can bring it forward towards the edge of the Charlton penalty area, having robbed possession. Udo's done well to get himself free in the middle. They couldn't get it in towards him. And the ball goes out of play for a Wycombe Wanderers throw over on that far side. 6 gone second half, 0-0 between Charlton and Wycombe here on Talksport 2 with McDonald's. Enjoy a tasty night in, delivered to your door with McDelivery. Again, the chance to put a long throw inside the penalty area is resisted. Now the cross comes in. Small off balance, did well to fly hack it clear. Comes back out to the Wycombe left-hand side. Well, Humphreys might have overrun it. No, he didn't. He did well because he hooked his left foot around the ball in the nick of time to make sure that Wycombe get another corner. Wycombe attacking the end of the ground away to our right. The Jimmy Seed stand that houses the 1,600 travelling Wycombe supporters making a fine noise now. Heartened by what they've seen. Corner can't come in yet because there's been a lot of pushing and grappling going on. Edwards was involved. And Bradley as well. And the pair of them just being spoken to by Dean Whitestone. One of those games, bearing in mind how few chances have been created from open play. It puts a real premium on moments like this. Here's Taylor trying to get free round the back as the corner comes in. Looking for McCleary, it's cleared. Out for Reach. Reach plays the way that he's facing. Back for Jack Grimmer, who's put under immediate pressure from Godden. He's just lobbed one forward. That's easily headed away. Grimmer wins the seconds, though. Better ball out from the back. Might have caused Wycombe a few problems, but they couldn't release Godden. And it's inevitably going to come straight back. Kone. Opportunity for Udo. He can't turn. Sets up Leahy, who whacks one in. Hits Connor Coventry on the edge of the D. McCleary back for Leahy. Just stands it forward inside the penalty area and it spins into the path of Udo. That one relatively easily cleared by Jones, but out of play, and it's Wycombe who are now having the best of it over a 4 or 5 minute spell, 0-0.
Well, we're still not getting a shot on target, but it is a little bit back and forth now. But you're right, just in the last couple of minutes, the ball's in Charlton's half. Wycombe asking questions, looking like they're trying to turn Charlton when possible. Charlton fans getting upset that the defenders aren't getting in there first. The game surely has to open up as the players start to get a little bit tired and they want to try and get that goal, which could be a winning goal.
Gilbert tries to play one forward, Small chased after it. It was just a little footing to get it away from him. Udo has lost out over on the far touchline. High raking crossfield ball hit down to the Charlton left winger Campbell, who's got it with his back to the direction of play, and Grimmer making life still really difficult for him. Ball's played back for Doherty. Doherty for Gillespie, wearing 3. High ball forward, Godden giving chase, and he just tried to draw defenders out of position. I think he felt that Small was going to be able to get in and make a dynamic run inside the penalty area to attack that. So Godden elected to try and pull the defenders out of the way, and Small didn't make the run.
He's got to read that. It's actually quite a nice little dink towards the far post. Gillespie didn't have anything, but he's got a great left foot. He didn't have anything else to do. Dinked it to the far post, and you've got to be coming in behind and reading the situation. Coming off the wing and trying to beat your full-back. And once he did, it would have been a free header, wouldn't it? A slight angle, but it would have been an opportunity for Charlton.
It's the 7th playoff campaign that Wycombe have been in. They've been promoted twice. They won these playoffs in 2020 by beating Oxford. They also won promotion back in 1994 when they beat Preston in League 2. They've reached the final in 4 of their 6 previous playoff campaigns, including the last 3. Going to have to do it the hard way, having not won the first leg, and they've never won a second leg away from home. Don't have to win this one necessarily. Penalties will do them. And every minute that ticks by makes that possibility that little bit bigger. We're 10 minutes into the second half. Jones coming to meet Richard Kone, who's actually taking up a more central role now rather than isolating himself against Ramsey. Charlton will bring it forward and then give it away. It was a poor ball from Edwards. Driven forward, Kone Comes to meet, tries to flick it on towards Udo. He's playing through the middle by and large, with McCleary having gone out to the left now, and Udo sticking on the right.
And they've done a bit of everything, and fair play to Mike Dodge. You asked the question about how can he do it going forward. Well, in terms of defence, he doesn't want to change it. In terms of midfield, he doesn't want to change it. The front three have, from the start to where we are now, everyone's played in a different position. So he is trying to ask the questions of the Charlton defence, but not really be able to get any proper, open, clear-cut opportunities.
Ball given away by Doherty really cheaply in the midfield. He's now got it back and is able to use it more effectively. Plays it back for Gillespie, who will find Jones. Jones poking it forward to his right. Coventry for the midfielder that will just drop in to make an additional centre-half to help build up play from the back. Now Charlton look long trying to turn the Wycombe back line. Reach scampers after it, turns it away, but only passes it to Coventry. And Small will take over on the Charlton right. Fires in the cross. Campbell attacking it. Grimmer was there. He really has had an excellent night. Another ball inside the penalty area. That one dealt with Doherty's delivery. Coventry hooks it back in. That one knocked away as well. Sonny Bradley getting his head to it. And the experienced centre-half gets away from McCleary. And he's now been able to release Kone. Kone inside the penalty area. Wycombe's big chance, and he's hit the side netting. Slaps the ground with the palm of his right hand in dismay. Better from Wycombe, but they still can't hit the target.
Well, that might be Wycombe's best way of scoring a goal. Charlton obviously will want to try and push forward as much as possible. And then Kone on the counter-attack. For the first time this game, just in the last 3 or 4 minutes, he has been up front. He showed the pace he's got. He got half a yard on Jonesy. To be fair to him, you have to say that's really good defending, because in the end, when the shot came in, it didn't hit the target. But when it hit the side netting, Jim, I thought that was in, not the other side.
I think a few of the Wycombe supporters as well did. Their view similarly obscure because of the angle that they're at as they were looking through the goal to try and see it, and they saw the net ripple on the far side from where they are, but it is still 0-0. Kone, the League One Player of the Year, 21 goals over the course of the season, including one here tonight. That might be enough. Not just for Kone, for anybody. 58 minutes in, 148 minutes into the tie. Still 0-0 on aggregate between Charlton and Wycombe. 15 yards inside their own half. Charlton build from the back again with Jones playing it forward towards Gilbert. Not the best ball back, and Jones couldn't hide his dismay. Build-up's just a little bit pedestrian at the moment from Charlton, and a few fans getting on their backs occasionally, and you sense that the players also are frustrated with the way that they can't build through the thirds more dynamically.
Yes, but they can't afford to just knock the ball long and give the ball away. If a pass isn't on, then don't do it. Just try to move Wycombe around, because if you do knock the ball long and it's not on and Wycombe win the ball back, then the crowd get even more sort of groans coming out as well. So play at pace, play at intensity, but don't just put balls in just for the sake of it. Just like just now, it wasn't on. Play to the next man and move them around.
Coventry. Oh, they got round the back of Grimmer this time. Campbell playing it back. Big moment. Oh, it's cleared. Doherty that hit it. Goalkeeper committed. Cleared from in front of him and out of play for a throw.
Brilliant bit of play from Charlton going forward. Again, Tyrese Campbell has not been able to get past Grimmer with the ball, but you can do it off the ball. Get the ball inside him. The pace that he's got, Campbell. He cuts the ball back. Doherty does everything right. Takes the touch, has the shot. It did look like the keeper went one way, but they got enough defenders back to clear it there.
Now gone, the Valley bouncing again. High ball inside the penalty area from a throw. It's cleared. Back out for Edwards. Better ball in this time, and that's a diving headed clearance. An overhead kick attempt from Gillespie was a really high tariff chance, and he wasn't on target. Wycombe clear, then chipped back over the top down the left-hand side by Coventry. Campbell getting towards the byline, and he's going to get there and try and pirouette back away from the challenge which comes in, and that's a foul. And the referee giving a free kick against Cam Humphreys in a half-decent position for Charlton. Not a shooting position, but certainly a part of the attacking third, which Gilbert would expect to be able to tease a delivery in for the likes of Jones and Gillespie, who've come forward for this.
Yeah, but it just shows that Wycombe are a little bit under pressure. The fact that Humphreys, he didn't need to make a foul there. Just let Campbell come back out and play it. That's what he was going to do. It just shows you that the players at the moment for Wycombe are under a little bit of pressure.
One in the wall. The free kick is 16 yards from the dead ball line and 5 feet in from the left-hand touchline. A really poor delivery from Gilbert. He sent that hanging high towards the far post. He's overhit it. And he's just drifted straight out of play for a goal kick that will be taken away to our left-hand side. I know you're looking at the team sheet, and I can read your mind thinking of attacking options that Charlton could bring on. They've got Tanai Watson, the right winger. They've got Karoy Anderson, an attacking midfielder. Chuck Zaniki, Dan Kanu. There's no shortage. Miko and Bick. Plenty more attacking options than defensive ones on that bench.
Absolutely. And Chuck Zaniki is a big one. The fact that he's back now and available, and he can come off the bench and just cause absolute havoc. But because of his injury record, you're sort of thinking this could be a 120-minute game. So that will be in Nathan's mind for sure. Again, I talked about Alex Gilbert there and perhaps Luke Berry being missed. I wonder whether Corey Anderson, even though he isn't a typical 10, he's more of an 8. He's a young lad who's coming to the ranks, has got a big future ahead of him. Not the most sort of skillful, but he's certainly very athletic. And I just wonder whether he might be worth a change.
Yeah, he's come off the bench 25 times this season, Roy Anderson. Haven't seen a single change in personnel so far with 62 minutes gone, and I think probably that is with one eye on the fact that this could easily go the full distance and beyond. We might only be halfway through the night in terms of football, so you've got to keep your powder dry to an extent. Here's Matt Godden, who might have something to say about that, trying to release Campbell. Good defending. And Taylor to get it away. And then Wycombe again launch it long, looking for Kone to try and flick it on. Jones had his number. Wycombe win the seconds in the midfield. McCleary. Cleverly worked between the lines for Humphreys. He turns around the corner for McCleary. Coney back out towards McCleary. Ramsey did well, stayed goal side, stayed on his feet, having had a little push from McCleary. He can batter it upfield. It's helped on by Godden. The clearance was good enough from Rabbitsoli to be able to steer it through the midfield outside his penalty area to Leahy. Now Wycombe will bring it forward. Humphreys looking for a foul, has been given the free kick. It felt just minimal contact from Conor Coventry and make sure the referee saw it. 63 gone, 0-0. In the week that Talksport will be bringing you the Europa League final. Next Wednesday, the FA Cup final on Saturday. 2 live Premier League games tomorrow. Villa Spurs here on 2 at 7:30, and Chelsea Manchester United at 8:15 over on Talksport. And we've got both of the League 2 playoff semi-finals as well. Walsall Chesterfield, incidentally, tomorrow night is on the Talksport app, the new and improved Talksport app. If you haven't seen that as yet, I thoroughly recommend that you download it, because as well as being able to get easy access to all the live football, which you do through the button on the bottom right-hand side of the home screen that says live matches, all the video you could wish to shake a stick at, and the best bits of the day's output that you might have missed whilst you're at work. So get that on the Talksport app ASAP. But that game exclusively on the Talksport app tomorrow, Walsall Chesterfield, whilst we bring you those 2 Premier League games here on Talksport Town over on Talksport. Adam Reach coming forward now, 19 minutes gone in the second half. It's 0-0. And Humphreys has got it for the Chairboys. Exchange of passes with Reach, who arrived on a short-term deal back in February just for the rest of the season. Reach chasing down the left-hand side. It's knocked away by Small for Charlton and goes out for a Wycombe throw about 10 or 12 yards from the corner flag. 20 minutes into the second half, and here is the Charlton legend. He tells me, Scott Minto.
Someone's got to. I just thought Thierry Small could have let the ball run out there, and now we've got an opportunity for Wycombe to try and hurl the ball into the box. And to be fair to them, after what, Charlton did start the second half better, they've come back into it. They're not necessarily playing for a 0-0. They are trying to go forward. It just, you hit the nail on the head earlier when you said both teams are just cancelling each other out.
Taylor inside the penalty area. is trying to get free so that he can attack this long throw that comes in. He can't get the flick on. It's a really good jump by Ramsey to knock it away. Back in, almost fell Udo's way. Godden clears. And it's brought down on halfway by Grimmer, who thought about playing forward, then went back, slightly wide of his goalkeeper, but there was never any danger it was going to embarrass Ravizoli. He was under no pressure. It just adjust his starting position, go across and get it away. Wycombe come again with another long ball punted forward. Gillespie cushion header away on the edge of his own penalty area, turned further clear by Edwards. Awkward bounce, really well dealt with by Grimmer. Had to jump up and get the studs of his right boot to the ball to be able to just bring it under control. McCleary aided him there, and then a long ball for Kone's overhit, and that goes out of play for a goal kick that will be taken by Will Mannion. It's still 0-0, and we're nearly midway through the second half.
Yeah, I mean, I talked earlier about Charlton can't force the ball if it's not on. That's exactly what Wycombe did there as well. They had a passage of play and putting pressure on Charlton, and certainly being in Charlton's half. I would just like to mention Jack Grimmer. I've been really impressed with him tonight. I think he's had a great game. Defensively, he's dealt with Tyrese Campbell well. Whenever he's on the ball, where he brought the ball down from the sky and did the right thing, giving it back to the keeper, and then, as you say, dealing with that awkward bounce so well. I think he's been excellent so far.
He's scored in a playoff final in the past. In fact, he's won playoff finals for 2 different clubs, and in the grand scheme of things, not an awful lot of players do that. He won one with Coventry, League 2 playoff final, and then one with Wycombe, their victorious one back in 2020. Reach is lost out here, and here's Thierry Small for Charlton, cutting inside the penalty area onto his left foot and firing it only just wide. And the Valley just seemed to stop for a moment and take a collective breath, because they saw that Ravizoli was beaten, and he looked nervously to his right and saw that it crept just the right side of the post as far as he was concerned.
The whole Valley just stopped there. I've got a Wycombe fan alongside me who did as well. I did. And then, I mean, Ravizoli just stopped. He was beaten. And you're waiting to see if it would go and hit the back of the net or just go the other side of the post. And for Wycombe fans, they will thank their lucky stars that it went the right side of the post for them, the wrong side for Charlton. But that's what Thierry Small can do. He loves to come inside, and once he does come inside, just get that shot off. Very unlucky, but really good positive play from him.
He's really made the Valley his home. He started playing at Everton. As I mentioned earlier, he's from the Midlands, from Solihull, but was in Everton's first team as a 16-year-old. Then went to Southampton. Didn't really work for him there, but clearly caught Nathan Jones's eye. He's had a great season here. 60-odd Charlton games behind him now, and close to scoring there. 0-0. 68 minutes gone here on Talksport 2.
Do you know what? He's got great ability. He's a good athlete, but he's also very skillful. And what I do like, which you don't always see even in the Premier League, is an inverted winger still trying to be direct. Whether it's coming inside or going outside, it's not just a little bit of skill, a little bit of touch, and then come back and pass it back. He's always trying to take on his fullback. And let me tell you, Jim, I can tell you from personal experience, fullbacks hate wingers like that.
Absolutely, and he's a fullback himself. I mean, he's played a lot of his club football at left back, but finding joy these days as a left-footed right winger. There is Charlton's left back, Edwards, making his way forward. There's a good tackle on him, and the excellent Grimmer can bring it away. Forward from the Scotsman to Gareth McCleary, still running hard on his 38th birthday. Deflection on his cross comes in, it falls behind Kone, and it's clear towards halfway, and then there's a little bit of grappling going on between Taylor and Campbell. How did you see that, Scott? Referee said play on.
I'm sorry, but he was on top of him. He was having to give him a piggyback, Tyrese Campbell. It was a definite foul. Look, I like the fact in the EFL, you know, the referees want to try and let things play, and it's absolutely the right idea. If you're not sure, let it play. But I mean, he's gone right in the back of him, then he's jumped on top of him. I don't know what more he was meant to do to call that a foul.
Well, Charlton are going to make the first change, and I'm a little surprised that it's Small who is coming off. He's going to be replaced by Chuck Zaniki, who was sent off at Wycombe 3 weeks ago, suspended for the first leg. This a 40th successive appearance in his career as a sub. His last start back in October 2023, but he's coming on here for 20, maybe 50 minutes. And has gone across and had a word with Godden, and seemingly is going to be playing off Godden, with Campbell moving out to the right-hand side. Godden flicking it on here. Campbell's got it. Able to turn. Got past Reach, but his touch was too heavy. Leahy will clear. Referee says that Reach's attempt to try and stop Campbell was a foul. So it's a free kick to Charlton. 2 yards in from the right-hand touchline and 15 adrift at the corner of the box. 71 gone. And the longer the game goes on, the more chance we've got of first goal winning it.
You know, like, remember when you're about 12 or 13 and you're playing with your mates down the playground and it's about 7 or 6-6 and you say, all right, next goal wins it. First goal wins this one.
Oh, we used to say that when we were 6-2 down. We were never good enough to be at 6-6. In comes the free kick from the Charlton right in towards the near post, and it was a really poor delivery. Not the best attempt at dealing with it at the back either by Edwards, but he had time, and then when the ball is flicked on, the offside flag's up. Helped on by a knee keeper Godden, but the flag very quickly up over on the far touchline from Andrew Dallinson, the assistant. And it's a free kick that'll be taken for the offside, about 10 yards outside the box. 0-0, 18 minutes to go, and Fred Onyedinma is going to be coming on for Wycombe. If they will make a change, is it going to be McCleary who will make way? He's coming over and having a word with the Wycombe coaching staff, so that would perhaps suggest that it isn't going to be McCleary. Oh no, it is. No, it's Kone. It's Kone. So number 24 is up, and Kone will leave the field to be replaced by Onyedinma. So Charlton have seen off the League One Player of the Year.
Yeah, again, slightly surprising. But I think Onyedinma perhaps would count himself unlucky to not be starting this particular game. I thought he played well in the first leg, so he'll certainly feel like he's got a bit of a point to prove. And what I would say about that front three of Wycombe, they are very fluid. They can switch around. Of that, there's no doubt. We're still trying to work out exactly what we're looking for from Charlton. Matty Godden alongside Chuck Saniki up front, and then I would imagine Tyrese Campbell will go pretty much where he wants to, but he's on the right-hand side at the moment.
Grimm is in there with another brave header. It's a return by Edwards, chested down and punted over the top towards Udo, who at the moment is playing through the middle here for Wycombe. McCleary. Onyedinma makes his way towards the edge of the penalty area, but the ball is laid back instead. Simon's trying to play a clever ball out towards the right-hand side. Clean challenge on Humphreys, but it was a good run that he made, and Ramsey had covered an awful lot of ground to get across there from right back to be able to slide that out of play for a throw that will be taken on the Charlton left. Onyedinma now in his third spell with Wycombe, rejoined on a free from Luton. I've been playing Premier League football last season, as indeed had Charlton's Luke Berry, who has missed out tonight because of a minor knock. I think the implication is that if Charlton to get through this to play Leyton Orient, he would be okay for the final, which is live on the Talksport network a week on Sunday. Udo gives chase to a hopeful ball played. There have been a fair few of those from both teams. Ball rolls over the line and out of play for a throw that will be taken by Edwards. 16 minutes to go. Charlton 0, Wycombe 0. Incidentally, that National League playoff game, it's a one-off game, not a two-legged affair at Spotland. It's now Rochdale 3, Southend 3. They've come back from 3-1 down. Here's Campbell inside the Wycombe penalty area. That's blocked. Comes back outside the penalty area for Ramsey. That's also blocked. Now worked inside the penalty area out towards Godden. Clip back in, a flying header just evades Aniki. It was Gilbert that threw himself at it, but he couldn't get the touch to be able to play Aniki in, and Wycombe will bring it away. And now Fred Onyedinma's coming forward towards the edge of the penalty area. The recently arrived sub. It rolls away from me, still gets an opportunity, he's pulled it back, oh what a block, and he comes out for Simons, and there's another brilliant block from Ramsey. All of a sudden it's opened up, 15 minutes to go. Brimmer Wycombe with 2 really presentable chances there. Onyedinma has looked lively since coming on. Gilbert pokes away, and Niki back towards Doherty. And Doherty across the edge of his own penalty area for Ramsey to be able to clear, and his long left-footed ball forward's going to be chased by Godden. Ravitsoli had come too far out of the penalty area and then very quickly had to turn and scamper back in, but he had quick hands and was able to bring the ball under control. Well, in the context of 165 goalless minutes, what's just happened?
Oh my goodness me. I mean, if the Lloyd Jones chance was the best chance by a million miles for Charlton, then that one there for Gareth McCleary, 38 years old, today, with all the experience he's got, it was 2-on-1. Kane Ramsey's almost battling with one Wycombe player, but the ball's fallen to McCleary. He's 8-10 yards out, no more than that, in front of goal. Kane Ramsey does so well, but McCleary shouldn't give him that opportunity. Take a touch if you need to, then pass it into the net. That is without doubt Wycombe's best chance of the game so far. And Ramsey does really well the second time as well, by the way.
Well, Charlton, I don't know whether it's just this phase of play, but it looks as though they've almost gone to a 5 at times, with Campbell playing deeper and deeper on the right-hand side, almost as a right wing-back, to keep an eye on McCleary, and Ramsey's come in and is playing on the right of 3 centre-halves, by and large now. Gilbert tries to turn it forward. Grimmer just lost out. A rare mistake from him, giving it to Doherty. Plays it down the line. Humphreys is there, and it's just gone over the line out of play for a throw that both sides have claimed. It is a Charlton ball, though. 13 minutes to go. Now they're in 6 minutes of added time in that National League playoff at Spotland. Still 3-3 Rochdale against Southend, and the winners of that go to Forest Green in the semis. Well, the other semi-final, if you're keeping up with who's going to get promoted back into the league, is York against Oldham. So we're going to get a former league club back in to the league through the National League playoffs. 2 former championship clubs battling to get back into the second tier. Wycombe have only had 1 season there. Charlton haven't been there for a bit, hoping to end a 5-year stay in the third tier, which is the longest that they've had in modern times. Ball over the top from Jones. That's easily headed away. Jones then climbing straight over the top of Udo. Referee says no foul. Punted forward by Cochrane. Godden trying to get in there, but couldn't find a way past Bradley. He's got a good line of communication set up with Ravitsoli, and the goalkeeper came out, got his hands to it. And it remains 0-0 with 12 minutes to go until the seemingly inevitable extra time.
Yeah, and Charlton do look like they're a 5 at the back. A bit of a lopsided one. Josh Edwards is more of that defensive left wing back. Tyrese Campbell more of an attacking one. It's a lot to ask of the youngster to do. He must be tired, and now he's being asked to track back as well as going forward. But that's what you get when you bring on Chuck Sanike and keep Matty Godden on as well. 2 up front. And the balance of the side should be okay. Okay, you're asking Campbell to come back a little bit more. I just feel I want to get him at Adam reach at every possible moment, and it's more difficult to do that being a wing back than being a forward player.
Yeah, it's kind of a sort of a lopsided 5-2-1-2 or 3-4-1-2 when they're in possession for Charlton now. 11 to go. 0-0.
And you know what, if you bring Chuck Sanike on, then just get the ball up. You know, he's got that physicality and he can create havoc in any defence. So you don't have to be a pretty ball, but just play the ball up to him. Spoke about my mate Carl Leeburn a little bit earlier. He's not dissimilar in that sense, and he can have defenders hanging off him and still create havoc. So yeah, just do that.
Wycombe trying to set up a 2 against 2 for a moment with a McCleary flick header. She fell away from Udo. Charlton get it back. Cochrane still the Doherty, I beg your pardon, still the only player that's been booked so far. Goes out towards the right hand side. It's not a bad ball in from Ramsey. Godden gave chase. Just stole a march on Bradley to be able to get in behind him, but Ravitsoli was out.
Was a good ball, Jim. It was a really good ball. And when you got 2 strikers on the pitch, one of them's got to get across the near post, and Godden didn't read that quick enough.
Charlton below Wycombe in the table in the regular season from week 9 all the way through to week 45. Ended up 1 point between them. Charlton 85, Wycombe 84. Even if the 2 games between the pair of them over the course of the regular season have both ended in Wycombe wins. It seems highly likely that both playoff games are going to be goalless through 90 minutes, but there will be a winner tonight, and as we often say, the most significant moment of the night still lies ahead of us. Ball is played by the Charlton centre-half, Macaulay Gillespie, from halfway. Punted forward, it's punted back to him, then it's played forward again, out comes Ravatoli, Gordon! 1-0 Charlton! It's a scrappy goal, it could be decisive. Just a hopeful ball played through the middle. It's flicked on, and Gordon was the quickest to react. Charlton's leading goal scorer makes it 7 in 6 here, but he could make it. The Charlton are Wembley bound for a London derby with Leyton Orient, playing for the right to play Championship football next season. The valley erupts, a big red smoke bomb goes off right in front of Matty Gordon, away to our left-hand side. He's had next to no service through the course of the night, but there's his predatory instinct. Wycombe have defended so well, just unable to win the first ball on the edge of the penalty area. It's nodded on scruffily, bundled home by Gordon. And he scored to give Charlton a 1-0 lead. 172 minutes it has taken for the aggregate deadlock to be broken, but it's broken now with only 8 to go, and Charlton sense Wembley.
It's a massive, massive moment. We talked about that first goal, how important it was before the game. As the game was progressing, that one goal could well be the winning goal. It looked for all the life of me that I was going to go to extra time and possibly penalties, and it still might, of course. But that ball we talked about, it wasn't necessarily aimed at Chuck Sanike, but just him coming on gives the ability to an extra striker get the ball into the box. They weren't able to deal with it, Wycombe. And yeah, Matty Gordon, he's done so well filling in the big boots of Alfie May. The very popular Alfie May, right place, right time. What a moment that could be.
Well, remarkably, Wycombe haven't won in London since a victory here at the Valley back in January 2022. They desperately need a goal now. They've got 7 minutes plus stoppage time to find a goal to take this to extra time. And they'll feel over the 2 legs that they're certainly worthy of that, of getting it to penalties probably. But the belief is here. Those songs are from the Charlton supporters, because they believe now. They believe that their destiny is a Wembley final.
Jim, I mean, I look at the way the game went in the first leg. I've looked at the way the game's gone in the second leg. That's the first shot on target in the game. And it looked for all the life of me that it would go right to the very end. And Wycombe, if it does end this way, and now it's a mentality, now can they, stay a little bit composed, make sure they don't just knock long balls themselves off. They're going to, they try and win the second balls. But they talked about moments. And actually Charlton, just in the last sort of 10 or so minutes, if there did look to be a goal, and to be fair, it didn't look to be an obvious goal, it did look like it was going to come from Charlton.
They've made a change. Karoy Anderson has come on to replace Gilbert. They lead 1-0. Now, having kept things very tight here at the Valley for a number of months, all they've got to do is make sure that they don't concede in the next 5.5 minutes, and maybe a similar amount of time to be added on after that. And they're at Wembley. And the 1,600 travelling Wycombe supporters away to our right-hand side, not all exclusively silent, but the volume isn't coming from that end of the ground. Here's Campbell. Charlton with a chance to kill him off now. Anderson brought down by a tired-looking challenge from Leahy. And this is in a position for a direct free kick. Godden coming across. It's 10 yards outside the box, maybe not quite that. It's right of centre. It's at a nice angle. Wycombe are preparing to make a change. Sadlier and Westergaard are both going to be coming on very shortly. Don't know whether they're going to make that double change before this free kick is taken. I would imagine not. Nathan Jones stands on the edge of the technical area in his black tracksuit, just giving instructions. He's pacing up and down. He's looking nervous, like a coiled spring. He's just taking a very sharp inhalation of breath. He knows how close his side now are.
Mike Dodds is doing exactly the same, pacing up and down. No, it would be a football manager.
Well, Wycombe are actually going to make a triple change because Kodja is going to be coming on as well. In comes the free kick. It's well dealt with by Rabbit Soli. Got his palms behind it, diving down to his left-hand side. It would have been pretty well struck by Connor Coventry. Now the ball goes out and Wycombe can make a triple change. We're going to do it now. Yes, they are. So the first man off is going to be Simons, and he'll be replaced by Kieran Sadlier, the Irish winger, who's only made 3 appearances in the last 7 months. Player who once scored in an Irish Cup final. Also going to see McCleary come off, and he'll be replaced by Westergaard. And the final change, we'll see Gideon Kodja, who's on loan from West Ham. He hasn't played for 5 weeks, but he comes on to replace Reach. So a triple change made. They've got 1 left at their disposal. Charlton can still bring on another 3. We're in the 87th minute, the 88th minute now. Charlton leading 1-0. Matt Godden on 82 minutes. Ball played in his direction. He's flicked it on. And they almost managed to get Anderson round the back. His industry is rewarded with a huge ovation from the Charlton fans, chasing everything there with his fresh legs, and he blocked a clearance upfield to make sure that Wycombe are hemmed back in inside their own defensive third with a throw down by their corner flag.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier about how Charlton, from an attacking point of view in that number 10 position, have missed Luke Berry, but Croy Anderson, especially going a goal up, not surprised at all to see him come on for Alex Gilbert, and that's exactly what he can do, that kind of energy and drive. He's a youngster who's still got a lot to learn tactically and where to position himself, but boy, can he do that, and he's the perfect guy to be on the pitch for Charlton to try and see this game out.
Charlton make a change with Campbell off, and Tenai Watson is coming on. Their only previous playoff tie was against Wycombe when he was a Milton Keynes Dons player. Actually won on the night and went out on aggregate. Looks as though he might get his revenge tonight. 90 seconds plus possibly as much as 6 minutes to be added on. Wycombe have a throw and swiftly win another. That Rochdale Southend game, they played 11 added minutes. That's gone to extra time. 3-3 at Spotland. Grimmer volleying it forward, straight out of play. Goals have really dried up for Wycombe at the end of this season, and are they going to fail to score in either leg against Charlton? It's looking that way at the moment. All eyes on the 4th official. Matt Donohue's got the numbers board out. Don't know yet how many extra minutes are going to be added, but that's all that will separate Charlton from Wembley. They'll be going across town for a right old East End knees up with Leyton Orient. Ball cleared by Coventry. Aniki flicking it on. Matt Godden's offside. Fell his way, and he's actually finished it beautifully with a lob over the goalkeeper that might earn him a yellow card. It does. As the flag came up, the whistle blew. Everyone had stopped and he knew it, but he still finished the chance. Great finish, mind. But it's a yellow card. 90 minutes all but up. Wycombe with a free kick for the offside. Nathan Jones bellowing at his defenders to get further back, to drop in more. Rabbitsoli with a long ball forward. headed down towards the edge of the penalty area. There's only 4 minutes to be added. Ball out to Sadlier. The Irishman down by the corner flag. Is he going to be able to get in a position to deliver across? Referee has given the throw Charlton's way. And it is down by their corner flag in the right back position. 3.5 to go.
Just watching pictures of Nathan Jones going absolutely mad on the goal. And rightly so. It was quite clear from an early point in this game, maybe even in this tie, that one goal would win it. The moment out of nowhere, and boy, the joy of him running into the fans and with his coaching staff. Can they see it out now, or can Wycombe somehow find an equaliser?
Well, Wycombe having to commit body sport, and that plays into Charlton's hands with the ball over the top of the back line, but Grimm has been able to deal with that one. Played forward, knocked away by Doherty, further cleared by Coventry. The first of the 4 additional minutes already up. 3 to go. Only 3 minutes left in Wycombe Wanderers' season unless they can find a goal. Aniki trying to get the better of Westergaard, and he's able to work it wide towards Gobben, and Gobben will just take it down towards the corner flag, using his experience, trying to take the sting out of the game, trying to buy a corner but failed, and he just toe poked it through for Ravitsoli. Quick flat clearance from the Wycombe goalkeeper. Suspicion of handball against Coventry, maybe just on the lower shoulder rather than the upper arm. The referee says it's a throw Wycombe's way rather than a free kick. They've taken it quickly. Their need is desperate now. Long ball punted forward, headed away well by Gillespie. He's had a fine game, he and Jones. Out he goes for a throw which will be taken on the Wycombe right-hand side by Grimmer. The door creaking open on last chance saloon for Wycombe Wanderers here. They've gone back inside their own half for Leahy. He serves it forward. Goalkeeper thought about coming out and thought better of it. Mannion backpedaling quickly. Cleared out as far as Grimmer. Teased in by him. Watson chasing. Sliding challenge comes in on him to stop him breaking up the right-hand side. But Taylor got the last touch and it's out of play for a Charlton throw. And by the time they've taken it, there'll barely be a minute left. Charlton on the cusp of the playoff final.
Yeah, less than 90 seconds to go. Really good play there from Tanai Watson. Really good defending and doing. And to be fair, the subs that Nathan Jones has made have done exactly what he wants them to do. Defensively, looking solid at the moment. They will take as long as they possibly can with this throw-in. As the clock clicks down, 60 seconds to go.
Here comes Grimmer. Played forward by the Wycombe right back. And the ball worked forward through the midfield. They couldn't get it to stick. It was Bradley that lost it. He's in a much more advanced position now. Charlton winning it back. All they've got to do is maintain possession for another 30 seconds. They've won a throw. Doherty playing it into Bradley. Sensing that is going to be the moment that will just kill the game. Codger acting as the ball boy, goes and picks it up from in front of the hoardings and hands it to Josh Edwards. Edwards will take the throw, a long loopy one down the left-hand touchline which Aniki controls on his thigh. He will take it down towards the corner flag. 10 seconds left, plus whatever the referee decides needs to be added to the minimum of 4 minutes. Free kick to Wycombe for a foul by Aniki. Punted forward long. Now or never for Wycombe. Flicked on by Onyedinma, who's given the free kick away. And that will just about be that. I think as soon as Charlton restart play, the full-time whistle will go. Job done for them.
Do you know what? Since the goal, it's been really good game management. Defensively, been excellent. And the substitutions, as I say, have made things short up even more.
Well, the hoardings in front of the covered end have been knocked over. There's going to be a mass pitch invasion in a moment, despite the pleas on the giant scoreboard for that not to happen. They really are whistling into the wind by asking for that. Charlton to take a free kick. They're wasting as much time as they think they can get away with before Jones punts this forward. And he just drives it back down towards that corner flag again, and that is it. Leeds fans racing out from the covered end away to our left-hand side and dreaming of Wembley. A night where it was only ever likely to take one goal to win it, and it was Matt Godden that provided it 8 minutes from time. Smoke bombs going off all over the place, a mass pitch invasion, Charlton players being embraced, Wycombe players struggling to extricate themselves from the scene, some Charlton fans going over, and just the odd confrontation. But this is Charlton's night. They've waited 5 years to get back into the top 2 tiers. They're now 90 minutes away. And a London derby with Leyton Orient is an appetising playoff final. Wycombe's long barren streak in the capital, which is extended into a 4th year, continues. Couldn't find a way through in either leg. Certainly they will feel that by and large they probably did enough over the 2 legs to at least get into extra time. One defensive lapse was all it took. Matt Godden with the goal. Charlton Athletic have won 1-0 on the night, 1-0 on aggregate. It's Charlton Orient in the playoff final, and Wycombe's season is over.
Yeah, look, I think it's fair to say neither of the 2 legs were classics. But if you are a Charlton Athletic fan, you don't care one jot about that. I mean, it was tight. Lloyd Jones had the best chance in the first half. Gareth McCleary had the best chance in the second half until the goal. And you could see that it was just one moment, kind of hoping it wouldn't be a mistake, and it wasn't. Fair play for Charlton for forcing the issue, and Matty Godden, again, I can't begin to show my admiration for him to follow in what was a really popular Alfie May. Fans didn't want to see him going, but Nathan Jones said, no, I know what I'm doing here. And the way the season had started, even all the way up to almost Christmas, people were questioning Nathan Jones, but the run they've been on since, coming into the playoffs now, I mean, it was an ugly game, Jim, wasn't it? We can't say it was a classic by any stretch of the imagination, but it doesn't matter. Charlton Athletic are through to the League One playoff final.
And there must be a good few thousand supporters on the field, with fireworks, with smoke bombs. Not all the Wycombe players have been able to get off. They gamely went to the away end, away to our right-hand side, so that they could applaud the travelling supporters. There are reports that one of the Wycombe players might have been punched by a Charlton fan, and there's a little bit of anger, I think, amongst the Wycombe contingent about how this has been dealt with. Certainly not many stewards here at all, and the attempts to try and keep the Charlton fans off the pitch were always likely to be in vain. It's just a sea of humanity now in front of the covered end, away to our left-hand side. They enjoying the moment. This is a club that haven't had that many moments in the grand scheme of things over the last 20 years. But this, a good night in their history. Not a great game, but an outstanding result that provides the platform for a promotion potentially.
But first of all, I just want to sort of touch on the fans coming on the pitch and the stewards. The stewards had no chance. They couldn't do anything. They tried before the game was even stopped. And the final whistle went. You could see what was going to happen. You can't expect these stewards to do that. And if there is a Wycombe player who was punched, then that's an absolute disgrace. I do hope that's not the case, but we'll have to wait and see whether it is. But on the pitch, from a Charlton Athletic point of view, this is a club that should not be in the 3rd tier of English football. 8 of the last 9 years in League One. And now they have the opportunity, they're 90 minutes away, or maybe even a little bit longer, to get into the Championship. And I do feel with the consortium they've got behind, Jim, that if they were able to get into the Championship, they will stay there, unlike what happened the last time they went up in that iconic game 6 seasons ago.
And a word about Wycombe Wanderers, the 2nd highest league finish in the club's history. fell away having spent nearly 5 months in the top 2. You feel that, broadly speaking, it is an upward curve, that they're moving in the right direction, that they will be able to come again next season?
Yeah, look, the new owners have come in. They bought a lot of players in January as well. There's a new manager in place. Has he worked? Very difficult to follow Matt Bloomfield. They lost that kind of attacking edge, the scoring goals, the excitement, the way they played under Bloomfield. Not an easy thing to do for Dodds to come in and continue that, with the greatest respect to a club like Wycombe, when you know that really you're fighting for one automatic place and then the rest are playoffs, because Birmingham City were always going to go straight up. Well done to Phil Parkinson, a former Charlton manager, of course, getting Wrexham up. So then it comes down to the playoffs. There was nothing between these two sides, Jim. That could easily have gone the other way. I would slightly say, I'm not with my Charlton hat on, that I think in the second half Charlton were pushing a little bit further forward. And if there were to be a goal, then I think it probably would have come from Charlton. Having said that, Gareth McCleary, well, he won't be celebrating his birthday tonight, will he? But he won't be able to sleep with that chance that he had. Brilliant defending, positional play from Kane Ramsey, but I do feel McCleary perhaps shouldn't have given him a chance. Wonderful opportunity, but it was just one of those games where first goal wins it, and that's what happened.
So, we know the Championship playoff final will be Sunderland against Sheffield United. The League One playoff final, Charlton Athletic against Leyton Orient. We'll find out together about the League Two playoff final. Walsall taking on Chesterfield in the second leg of their semi-final tomorrow. That's on the Talksport app. And then Saturday lunchtime, Wimbledon, hoping to build on their first leg lead, hosting Notts County. And all 3 playoff finals will be live on the Talksport network. We've got more live Premier League action for you tomorrow. Villa against Spurs, 7:30 here on Talksport 2. Chelsea against Manchester United kicks off at 8:15 over on Talksport. Saturday afternoon, a 4:30 kickoff at Wembley. Manchester City against Crystal Palace, the FA Cup final, live right here on the Talksport network. Sunday, the final Premier League game at Goodison Park, Everton against Southampton. Monday night, Brighton, Liverpool. Tuesday, we got Man City, Bournemouth and Palace, Wolves. Wednesday, the Europa League final. So much live football coming your way. This a game that didn't really live up to the hype. It didn't really live up to the spectacle we were hoping for. Never likely to, I guess, with so much at stake. It only took one moment, and it was Matt Godden that provided it. From Scott and myself, enjoy the rest of your night. The EFL Fan Network coming up for you next here on Talksport 2 on the night that Charlton have beaten Wycombe 1-0 on the night and 1-0 on aggregate. Good night from the Valley.